All right, good evening, everyone. I got 7 o'clock, so we'll start with business. If you do not have your call sign next to your name, if you can hit the little 3 dots and rename yourself and put your call sign, we'd appreciate it. If you're visiting and don't have a call sign, just put no call. That way our secretary can know who's attending this evening, so we appreciate that. It looks like I got a big crowd coming this evening. That's good. I'd like to see everybody join. Again, welcome to the November general meeting for the Longmont Amateur Radio Club. If you're visiting, welcome. If you're a member, thank you and welcome. I'm seeing some new faces that I haven't seen on here before and some new names I haven't seen on here before.
Yes.
Thank you. Your mic is on.
Yep, I got a couple mics on here. Oh, thank you. We don't mind you talking. We definitely don't want to keep you from doing that. During the presentation, I'd ask if you would mute those so Clint could give his presentation, which I'm looking forward to. And then we can ask questions as well. Again, we got a lot of business done last October or last month at our general meeting. So thank you for attending and get all the yearly stuff out of the way. The only major thing going on that I know of right now, I know Doug will probably have an announcement for some events coming up, or at least one. We do have Santa on the air again this year. Call sign N0P. Santa will be transmitting over the repeaters and Echo links starting on Sunday. Was that November 29th, 28th? I forget the date. I'll check my calendar. 28th. And we'll run the 29th through the 3rd. The 28th is from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time, or I'm sorry, Mountain Time. And then 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, the 29th through the 3rd, Mountain Time, using the repeaters and Echolink. So hopefully we'll get some more kids to attend this year like we did last year. As a reminder to the club, get your little ones involved, get them on the air. This is the time to start them. There's a lot to learn here. It's fun talking to Santa. He's always got good stories. Last year he talked about the reindeer, how he met Mrs. Claus. I mean, all kinds of cool things. The other cool thing is if your child attends, what Santa's little elf did to help Santa out is everybody got a QSO card from Santa as well. It's a neat little one that I created with the contact information, and it actually comes from the North Pole. So yeah, Clint's like, yeah, that sounds cool. So get your kids on the air. We actually had one person from Canada last year who joined us and one from Ohio that were out of state. So we did get a little publicity last year on that as well. So spread the word, get the hams on the air and get your little ones on the air and get them interested in possibly the hobby as well. And also talk to Santa Claus. Other than that, Doug, do you have any announcements or need any help with any events? KE0EE, Doug?
KE0SI?
SI, sorry. Don's EE. Get you two mixed up. Don's not even on yet. I'm used to you being a little bit late and Don here, so.
Well, I logged in directly from your email. And
oh, good. It worked.
It was faster. I will
good.
say yes. It was not impressive, but it was faster. Anything's faster than 5 or 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so you got any announcements?
Yeah. Well, we just had the December Parade of Lights, and I don't remember the date. So what have we got? 25 people listening. Wow. I'll get the date in a minute. I'll look it up. So it's December or something. 13th, or no, that was November 13th.
The 13th will be a Monday. I'm about to say it should be a Saturday. It's either the 4th or 11th.
It's Saturday the 11th.
Saturday the 11th is the Parade of Lights. Okay, that's
yes,
when it'll be. Parade of Lights starts at 5 o'clock, I believe it is, and I've already got some people volunteering for it. So I started a volunteer list so I don't lose track of them.
It's a lot of fun, and hopefully it doesn't snow because last year when I did it was cold out.
It's been cold, yeah. It's been December. It's just Colorado,
yeah.
but it's tolerable. you
It's a
know,
lot of fun.
You don't wear open-toed shoes.
Yeah.
Everybody has a hat of some kind. So, and a warm coat. So that's all I'll have to say.
Okay, cool.
I want to
Thank
thank
you.
everybody for supporting the turkey trot. It was awesome. We had 9 or 10 people supported it, and it went well. We had no accidents or problems. I've got pictures to prove that people were there. And I sent a couple of them out, and I'll put them on our webpage when Chuck tells it, instructs me on how to put them up there on that home page.
Yeah, give me a call, Doug. I'll show you how to do that.
I've been busy with several things, so
No, understood.
yeah, I'll do it. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other
They're
board
also in the
members?
splatter.
Oh, the pictures?
Yeah, read your November splatter, please.
Okay.
Chuck, I do have a question.
Yeah, Joe.
Your Santa thing, is that HF or UHF or how you, I don't know.
We're just doing UHF, VHF over the local repeaters and Echolink. You know, Echolink, of course, gives us that farther distance away. At some point, if I can get enough participation, and this is our second year doing it, so it's kind of like what we talked about fox hunting events. I'm letting it grow to see how it goes. This year, if I can get more kids involved and get a bigger participation, eventually I'd like to try to link up the different clubs, repeaters, and maybe hit the whole state of Colorado, and then maybe grow from there as well. There is an HF group that does Santa on the Air as well, and they do it for several weeks. I think it was at the 319 club on 80 meters, I think it is, something like that. So there's another club that does Santa on the Air as well, but it's all HF.
You want to link to us? You can do that if you want.
Well, I want to get bigger participation first, but at some point we will talk about that because I definitely want to do that in the future.
Yeah, if you could link those 700, you could grab all the stuff all the way through to Sterling, really, right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and then and get more clubs involved. So that's part of that. Let it grow, see how it goes, and then we kind of worked out. But thank you for offering that, Joe. Appreciate it. And as the club knows, we've been building that nice relationship with Northern Colorado, and I think it's been working out really well, helping each other out where we can, because we have a lot of members that are members of both anyway. So it's great. So thank you, Joe. Any other board member or anybody got anything they'd like to bring up really quick before we start the show?
Just one comment about the turkey trot. We had one of our members who has a motorcycle, and he was able to follow the last walker around the course, covered a lot of territory. So we appreciated his efforts to be there.
Is that Harlan?
Yep.
Yeah, Harlan was also our October Above and Beyond Award winner as well for helping out with the patches for the club. Steve, you gonna bring that up?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Nice little segue.
In the splatter, guys, we've reduced the prices for most everything on there to get more club members to buy. So Kat, thank you. She actually fixed the form. So you're gonna see what it cost for Atomic Prints to do it. And there is no profit from the club. So we thought it would be a great promotion. In the board meeting, we chatted about it. So guys, get your hat. There's coats on there too, jackets, some fleeces and soft shells. If you want to put patches on a favorite jacket, hey, order some patches on there. Put it on your favorite gear. And then when we get to go out, and, that's showing our spirit. So look through that on the splatter. I think it's page 23, 25, or kind of toward the end there. And then we also made talking on the nets. We're trying to get everybody to sign up for free for King Supers to give back to the club. So it's an easy thing to click on the link, set your phone number up, choose Longmont Amateur Radio Club. So every time you go to King's to go get your stuff, the club profits from that. Same with Amazon Smile. So you buy Amazon Smile and choose the club. My daughter did that. and she gave the club $280 some with her personal buys. So, you know, that's how we're going to get some money to go do things as well. But buy the apparel. It's at cost. Thanks, John.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Steve. Another announcement I forgot is we have a testing session this Sunday. It is a Patriot VE testing session, so there's no charge. If you'd like to upgrade your ticket, or you know somebody that wants to get their ticket, go to hamstudy.org to sign up. That's the only thing on this one. You do have to sign up online for a slot. I believe the last time we checked, we had 3 or 2 slots still open on for the first session. But if we fill that up, we'll have a second session as well. It's at 350 Terry Street, starting at 9 a.m. So tell people to sign up. I'm hoping 2 people I've been trying to get signed up for the longest time are supposed to come out on Sunday, but I haven't heard confirmation yet. It's a couple that want to get more involved with ham radio. So hopefully they'll show up and get their ticket. But spread the word, let people know. We also have one on the second Saturday in December. I believe it's the second Saturday because of Christmas.
It's on the 11th also.
Okay, on the 11th, we'll have one at 350 as well. That's an AARL one. That one is a $15 fee. That one you don't have to sign up prior to, but you know, if you let us know that you're coming, we appreciate the heads up, and Aaron can kind of plan a little bit better. And again, these are all at 350 Terry Street. 350 Terry Street being in Boulder County, and COVID, the building has asked that people do wear their masks. So that is a building requirement. It's for a short time, so please follow their rules, and we keep them happy, and we have a place that we can do our exams. All right. Any other announcements or anything that anybody would like to bring up, board or non-board? Please speak up now. All right, Mr. Clint, K6 LCS, the floor is yours, sir. Show us what you got.
Show you what I've got. What does Longmont have? Let's say a ham passes your course, or a new ham somewhere else in town, goes to Google, puts in Longmont ham radio. Where does your club rank 1 through 100 in those Google results? Anybody know?
I'd have to go look. I don't know. I did.
You
I'd
come
have
up
to.
as number. You come up as number 1, as number 2, as number 3, as number 4, as number 5, as number 7. People
Who's
pay
6?
hundreds of some. It's a list of Colorado folks.
Okay.
People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for Google results like that.
Yes.
I hope Kat and your webmaster are appreciated and are high-fived every time you see them. That
Hey,
is
Kat.
phenomenal market. That is phenomenal marketing. Kat, I see you smile. You know, I apologize. Is Kat okay for a stranger, or is it Kathleen?
I go by Cat.
Kat, okay, because okay. Usually, I need to shake your hand before I do a shortened name. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, let's see what we can do here. Let's see, Zoom meeting. Let's share a screen.
Oh, I got to make you co-host. Sorry, that's my bad. Hang on. That's probably why you're not seeing anything. There we go. You now have permission, sir.
Something is there, yes. Oh, the payment for the speech just went up. That's cool. Share screen, Longmont. I'm a little off timing. Kat knows I had a shoulder surgery 2 weeks ago. My right arm is strapped to my body, and ever try to do a mouse left-handed when you've been doing it right-handed for the last 50 years? This is just really weird. So share computer sound. Play. Does everybody have a full screen test pattern now?
Yes, I see one.
Awesome. Is that your group?
That would be our bunch of, well, actually, that's our group plus part of Northern Colorado. That was a joint get together.
We long for this in California. We'll be there in a few months, but being able to go out to parks and show off equipment and have people, yeah, we're looking forward to that. Tonight, we're going to talk about satellite work with low power. But before we begin, for those of you on Zoom, which is all of you, I want you to know that W0UM Cat wants you to know that the restrooms are available. If you go out the door and down the hallway, you'll find the restroom. And The club has provided goodies for you this evening, little munchies. If you go down the other way in the hallway, find the refrigerator. Anything in there is yours to munch during the meeting. So, Kat, thank you very much. For me, it's this homemade lentil chili that my wife made. So, Kat and the group, thank you so much for thinking of us.
You're welcome.
I think you're going to find between the Hawaiian shirt, the pain medication, and the bad jokes that we're going to try and learn some stuff, but try and have a good time doing it. Everybody check this out this afternoon on the website. That is the Times Call is your paper, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is.
Yeah. All right. That's your Longmont Radio Club. They didn't say they can give you website, but okay. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And this, for those of you this is a 34-page newsletter. And I told Kat a half hour ago, do you not know that we're coming out of a pandemic and this should be dismal and depressing? This is 34 page of no fluff, no spilling. This is a phenomenal, and I've looked at a few past issues. What a wonderful job you folks are doing with marketing and in this hobby. Let's get some serious. Well, we'll be serious in a moment here, but we all were watching this earlier this year. Remember the Perseverance landing and this first image we got from it? Then we went to bed. About 3 hours later, the second image came down. Oh, image, and they got better and they got better in resolution. And overnight, the color ones started coming. Just phenomenal high-res photos from Mars. Is that incredible? David, thank you, David, for the courteous laugh. I appreciate it. And on April 1st, the first true discovery from Mars, it discovered where the lost socks are from the dryer. Yes, indeed. They are right up there. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. I owe you $1. But let's get serious. Earlier this year, we had a little antenna cabling problem that affected our crossband repeater, our 2-meter 440 Kenwood mobile unit that's on board. They replaced this little 3-foot section of coax that had 5 more antenna ports in for a future client, but it shorted out our antenna jack. We thought, oh my gosh, I hope the equipment isn't damaged, and can you put the old one back? We thought it was going to be a 6-month problem, but within 3 weeks, they had that put back together for us. So you're on the Columbus module, our crossband repeater and our packet radio is up running. That is, the new radio is part 1 of a 10-part series of equipment. We're going to have a Raspberry Pi up there that you and I can access, in addition to the European Space Agency's projects. But there's a 10-part series of equipment heading up to the ISS for you. Back in July, Russia sent a cargo mission to the ISS. Did you hear about this? It docked successfully, didn't know where it was, and its thrusters came on. This was a battle between NASA on the ground and Russia. This turned the ISS more than 1.5 revolutions. This is much more serious than NASA wanted us to know. You know, when NASA has a public broadcast and they shut it all down to test patterns, you know something is weird. But this was an honest-to-God battle of engineers battling thrusters back and forth to try and get everything in sync. I have a link on my site. You can hear the conversation and how calm, cool, and professional those people are on the air. But this is a real interesting battle. There's the Nauka, and there's there it is. It looks gorgeous, but it was just delayed so many months in flight. But its computers obviously were off. As soon as it docked, it thought it was someplace else. And then just this Monday, did you hear about this? Yeah, Russia, without telling anybody, of course, which is we would do the same type of secrecy, but they launched a missile to explode a satellite. Imagine being in the crew on the ISS, getting woken up 3 hours early to hear this.
Hey, Mark, good morning. Sorry for the early call. We were recently informed of a satellite breakup and need to have you guys start reviewing the safe haven procedure. It's 9.21. We are planning on performing through Block 8, which will include closing the radial hatches. The time of concern is 0600.
So there's the satellite on the left there, that little orange circle, and it blew up into 1,500 pieces. 1,500 pieces. Well, the ISS is back now in normal configuration after this, but they were moved to vehicles that were able to fly as lifeboats in case something bizarre happened with this launch. Here is, just for you to know, here are the 17 low Earth orbiting. These are LEOs, 17,000 items that we know about, that the government knows about and tracks. But here's space junk. It's very, very crowded up in low Earth orbiting. So you're going to hear a lot of defense budget requests for vacuums, for systems to try and get some of this junk. There's everything there from screws, nuts, bolts, hammers, and then pieces of satellites that Russia decides to blow up. And we're just getting warmed up here, folks. This is the fluff and the filler that Kat does not put in your newsletter. If you go to NASA's website, nasa.gov, you will come back with some wonderful, wonderful screensavers. This is the Space Shuttle Endeavour on her last mission, coming towards the ISS during STS-130. It's called Shuttle Silhouette. I just think that's just a gorgeous shot. Who knows what apparatus this is? Don knows. Who knows what apparatus this is?
Like Parks.
You are absolutely correct. That is the Parkes 64-meter radio telescope. It gave us those images from the moon during Apollo 11. For those of you less than 50 years old, Apollo 11 was a manned space flight to the moon. But look at right below the focus cabin. See that streak of light? That's the shuttle orbiter Atlantis on her last mission. But it gets better. Look to the right. Look to the right. That's the International Space Station. They just undocked 3 minutes ago. So with us, without having a shuttle program and Parkes, Apollo, I'm getting my hair, even on my damaged arm, is rising. This is just a phenomenal photo. I need to thank John Sarkissian of Parkes Observatory for letting us play with that photo. Just a phenomenal photo. If your significant other ever says that there's a rat's nest behind your desk, just let him or her know, dear, it could be worse. In the circle, there's our Kenwood TMG 710. Yeah, a lot of tie straps, Velcro straps up there. What is this? This is at Ham Radio Outlet in Anaheim. I was fortunate to work there for a few years. The FM LEOs we're going to talk about in a few minutes. It's best if you work them in true full duplex mode. That's defined as being able to hear the downlink from the satellite as you key your mic and transmit. That allows you to know you're getting into the satellite. Also allows you to know if you actually stepped on someone else. So when I give demos, I'm in the foreground here. There's the Arrow crossband Yagi. We're working AO91, but I have a headset on. So the gentleman in the back, about 20 feet away, is a local personality, Heiko, and he's got a elk log periodic monitoring with an FT60, so folks can hear what's going on. And he's 20 feet away, so there's no acoustic feedback. That's just my ego. Sorry. The Arrow antenna, a little front heavy, so I've made it more ergonomic. We're going to talk about that Stanley hacksaw handle here in a few minutes. My wife is responsible for this. She bought me a Dremel tool, and I had to start cutting up something with it. And at a Target store, she saw this and said, well, there's a nice flat surface. You can do something with that. Yeah. A couple biennial lithium polymer cells in there, packs in there. It now has USB ports on it. Nice handle, insulated, a nice little, quote, go kit, unquote. Thank you, Karen. Karen is here. Karen here is here by the fact she works audio for me and keeps me awake. But Karen is, her call sign is BEAU TIFUL. BEAU TIFUL. Any engineers? Any engineers in the room? Any engineers in the Zoom this evening? I have an engineering joke. Okay. The egg beater antenna, I'll take it to shows with me. Sometimes I'll put it on a rotator and call it my souffle antenna. 3, 2, 1. That's just too weird. I apologize. Egg beater antennas for FM work with the satellites. Okay for 2-meter receive, but my $15 tape measure beam will outperform my $320 M² egg beater every day of the week. Every day of the week. My QSL card. We just got through working 3 countries with 2 watts. Didn't say counties. We worked Mexico, the US, and Vancouver, British Columbia with 2 watts. The guy on the right, The fairgrounds allowed him to drink so much alcohol. He was looking for the little people in my hand that were talking to us. But anyway, this is what got me excited about working these. I thought you needed a lot more equipment, but you already have the equipment to do this. Hey, when did Longmont become an ARRL affiliate? Anybody remember the year?
Our
Board,
historian's not on.
board members can't reply because they know. But anybody know how long this club has been an ARRL affiliate?
1980.
Close. Subtract 2.
Now I guess 1978.
You are. Oh, excuse me. 72. Oh my God, 72. That's Nixon Agnew time. 1972. 28, 29. That's almost 50 years. Did you know you're coming up on your 50-year anniversary of supporting the ARRL? I expect to see a special splattery edition. Thank you so much for that. 50 years of supporting the ARRL. Who in the room? Who in the room? Who in the Zoom? Who in the Zoom? Who's a member of the ARRL? Show of hands. ARRL members? All right. Who is not quite yet an ARRL member? And who just refuses to raise their hands at Zoom meetings? Okay, for the two of you, there's a courtesy laugh. Give him $1. 1972, you realize houses cost $33,000. Gas was 36 cents a gallon. Potatoes, 93 cents a pound. Milk, fresh delivered glass container, 68 cents a half gallon. That's how long they've been working here. Anyway, ARRL, for those of you who aren't members yet, your membership gets you a wonderful magazine, 100 pages of ads and 20 pages of articles every month. But it's okay because they're all ham-related ads. You'll get yourself a new email address because who doesn't have enough? You'll get a forwarding of your call sign at ARRL.org. ARRL is our largest lobbying body for amateur radio interests in North America. They usually get it right, and their hearts are in the right place. You get a discount on their educational material. Anybody using the equipment insurance plan through the ARRL? Club equipment, club repeater?
Not yet. We've talked about it.
Please think about it. I've been with State Farm for more than 40 years here in California. In California, your mobile rig is not automatically covered by auto insurance. You have to get a rider. ARRLinsurance.org is all my computers that I'm using now, my radios. They offer me a much better premium than State Farm did. And I've been, again, State Farm for 4 decades. It's $1.50 per $100 of evaluation. It's a $50 deductible per loss, but it's current day replacement cost. It'll cover the repeater in the backyard. It might not cover the repeater in a commercial building on the hill, but ask them. They might be able to do something for you. But and then compare that with your city, with Longmont's insurance agents. I think you'll be pleased. ARRLinsurance.org. Another organization I volunteer for is AMSAT, AMSAT. We were founded in 1969 as a nonprofit also. Our mission is to disseminate information about and build satellites and launch them. We are international in scope. There are more than 40 chapters globally. We are 501c3. I won't beg, but you know what that means. The other organization I volunteer for is ARIS, Amateur Radio on the International Space Station. Not only are they responsible for getting ham equipment on board the ISS, but they also coordinate those wonderful interviews that students give with orbiting astronauts aboard the ISS. We perform more than, I think almost 1,600 of those worldwide. So 1,600 groups of students of about 20 each have actually talked to an astronaut. Then all that goodwill that's spread with those audiences from 35 to a couple hundred people or more. So ARIS. So there's my 3 A's. ARRL.org, AMSAT.org, and ARIS.org. Please bookmark them. Please participate. Please watch for news. And you can put either or any of these in your wills too. The only people who'll be upset will be the grandkids, and you'll be gone. Oh, I'm sorry, that's tacky. That's tacky. I'm sorry. All right, for your Christmas party, the oft asked question, how many parking spots are there on the ISS? Well, now you know. There are 8. Actually 8. This is what it looks like now. There's the Crew 3 Dragon up there. But there's actually 8 parking places on the ISS. I had no idea there were that many. Each is causing a little bit of atmospheric drag. They do indeed reposition themselves in elevation a couple times a month, but 8 parking places. You'll win the trivia prize at your Christmas party. Anybody working with Raspberry Pis? Anybody playing with Pis? Oh, Chuck.
Yeah.
Did you know we have 2 of these aboard the ISS right now?
Yep.
European Space Agency has 2 of these on board. It's this exact machine right here, Raspberry Pi 3B Plus with a Sense hat. I don't have that $4,000 machined case that was mandated by the space agencies, but those are used mostly by the European Space Agency. In a couple of years, you and I will be able to access the Eris Pi. That's one part of the 10-part Eris equipment plan. There's Tim Peake, European Space Agency, showing it off. Here is a middle school student's project measuring defoliation in Africa. I said middle school student. Can you imagine her first job interview? Oh, it says here you've written some code. Yeah, I have. It's aboard the ISS right now. Would you like to see yesterday's data on defoliation in Africa? Middle school students, this is our future. This is our future. There's the 2 Pis on board. There's kids receiving participation certificates. The next European Space Agency Pi they're sending up is going to have the much better camera on it and some more sensors. But go to astropie.org if you want to see a wonderful teaching, a wonderful curriculum, wonderful STEM education projects, just a wonderful marketing of radio in space and computers in space, astropie.org. And then who has gone outside and looked up in the sky and seen the ISS streak, either early in the morning or after sunset? A couple of you? I never failed to get excited about this. I was at my local Best Buy store at 7 o'clock at night, and I knew this was going to happen. This young man in the front, I couldn't speak his language, but as soon as I said International Space Station and pointed, here's people trying to capture it on their smartphones. And you know, some hams think that the ultimate FM simplex contact is something like this. NA1SS, Kilo 6, Lima, Charlie, Sierra. Pardon? Commander Weissman, thank you very much for what you're doing for amateur radio this weekend, K6LCS. 2 watts, Yaesu FT60, $15 antenna. That's if you had to buy all the PVC pieces and go to Harbor Freight for the free tape measure. Commander Weissman was about 450 miles downrange when we started. These are the ultimate line of sight experiments. No propagation problems, no ionosphere problems. We know to the second when these satellites are breaking the horizon, where they're going to be for you. Rain doesn't make any difference. These are fun. These are fun. I was honored to have orchestrated one of those ARISS contacts here in Jurupa Valley, which is California's newest city. This is at historic Flabob Airport, famous because it is home to Chapter 1 of the Experimental Aircraft Association. And there's our new city council, our school board, and our 20 students. There's a guy who was really stressing out over an audio problem that we had. This is a year's worth of planning for a 10-minute conversation, and we had an audio problem that morning. We almost got aborted. There is Don Pettit, flight engineer Don Pettit, talking to our students, and we got ourselves on page 1, color photo above the fold in California's 6th largest daily newspaper. We were just praying that Paris Hilton didn't get drunk the night before and bump us off the front page. But that's where the kids belong, and that's what they got. Okay, Kat, and what am I supposed to be doing here tonight? Let's see, working let's talk about working amateur radio satellites with your handheld radio. But who am I? My goodness, with all these reference people here in your club, why am I doing this? I've just been licensed since 1994. Involved in the commercial side of radios as well as amateur. This is the 136th show, Kat. 136 of these, Kat. Clubs, conventions, Hamfest here, Canada, England. I guess I can say I'm an international presenter now. Professionally, I was sales manager for Premier Communications, who brought into the country the Prime radios and the ADI audio accessories. Which is the opposite, just the opposite. ADI radios and Prime audio accessories. Worked for Motorola for a couple of years, and then for ham radio outlet Anaheim for a couple more years. I reside in Jurupa Valley, about 45 miles east of Los Angeles, with my wife, Karen, who's put up with this for 35 years. I love you, dear. I love you. And our rescued lab. Any dog fans? Our rescued lab, Freya. And Chuck, you know, with those ears, we go in the backyard, do some 1.2 work every once in a while. Let's demolish some preconceptions, and you probably already know this before you even saw me. You need 100 watts, you need that expensive Yaesu rotator and multiple Yagis to work amateur radio satellites. Audience, is that correct?
Nope.
All right. But Clint, it's an expensive proposition. Folks, is it expensive?
Nope.
Most of you already have the necessary equipment to work these satellites. Either a full duplex radio like the Icom W32, 2 radios. A friend of mine in Texas has worked more than 9,000 contacts with his HT. And remember that Anley AL800 antenna, a BNC, it expanded about 14, 15 feet, putting all that stress on your radio. For 2-meter receive, an improved duck is fine. For receiving the ISS's slow scan TV projects, your stock duck is fine. That's how strong the signal is. But please think of more directionality, more gain for working both sides of these crossband repeaters in the sky. Knowledge is power. Sir Francis Bacon, 1597. I think my mom dated this guy. Yeah, Sir Francis Bacon. Okay. All right. You're in Colorado. I'm in California. Anybody know what time it is?
California or Colorado?
Trivia time.
It is. Who said that? It is. Somebody's watching the screen. It is indeed trivia time. You are absolutely correct. Oscar is a acronym. What does Oscar stand for? Anybody unmute and answer, please. Oscar is a acronym. What does it stand for?
Orbiting satellite carrying amateur radio.
They got it. This is Longmont. This is cool. Yes, indeed. It's not that. It is orbital satellite carrying amateur radio. It used to be orbiting, but NASA thought that was a little too geeky sounding. It's as if the rest of it isn't. So orbital satellite carrying amateur radio. And there is the United States first. If that looks like sheet metal held together with some rivets built in a garage in Central California, that's because it is. That's Oscar 1 right there. Look at that high-tech component. I need my resistor color code guide to just anyway. No surface mount componentry there. Anybody now, without telling your age, but anybody hear this project in 61? All it was a Morse code emitting satellite for a couple of revolutions. No one's going to admit it. Okay, that's fine. But there it is. Look at the Dymo label maker tape. How cool is that? Note the dollar amount, 60 some odd dollars. Costs a little bit more now to do this, but Oscar 1. I apologize for this next slide. This is more words than anyone should ever have on a slide. I apologize. It's just letting you know that Oscar 1 was in 61. Oscar 2 failed. Oscar 3, the first amateur radio satellite with a transponder aboard. There have been more than 110 Oscars. Russia's been involved, and we've always had amateur radio equipment aboard the International Space Station. It's not just a toy to them. It's not just a gimmick. They used our system for, while their other system was going under routine maintenance. Almost all astronauts, no matter what country they're participating from, are amateur radio operators, licensed amateur radio operators. We just wish they'd get on some simplex 2-meter work for us more often. But you know, when you look at their schedules, there's more than 356 projects in session up there now. So, whatever little precious time we can get with them, 2-meter simplex, we'll take it. The low Earth orbiting LEOs, low Earth orbiting satellites, 250 to 400 miles above the Earth, about 2 hours per orbit. They are sun synchronous. They will be going north to south or south to north. So every pass is going to get hit by the sun to generate some power into their solar cells. You'll get to a point in working satellites where you won't take your notebook out with you, or your printout, or your past prediction software. These are going to be either north to south or south to north, either to your east or to your west. And you just need to know about approximately how high off the horizon they're going to be. This is not a minute machine-driven movement of an antenna. This is, I don't want to say slop. That's a unscientific. You have a lot of play in working these. So it's engineers just know it's. There was an Amber Alert. Okay, cool. You'll run into a few terms while working in satellites. Orbit is simply the path of a satellite around the Earth. Doppler, there's a Doppler accommodation we must make on the 440 side of the 2-meter 440 crossband repeaters. Kat, I asked everybody to bring their slide rules. So get your slide rules out. We'll work on this. Let's say the satellite is transmitting there on the center at 435, 300. Acquire above. It's my mnemonic device. Acquire above. So program or use VFO and acquire it up at 305 and 310. Work it up there. At what point in the past do you change channels? There is no definitive point. You're going to just play with it. Excuse me. Time for my medication. It is an Amber Alert. Stop that. Stop that. Do you get those in Colorado? Statewide alerts for
Yeah, we had one yesterday.
okay. Oh, this is an elderly person, so it's a silver alert.
And this was 11-year-old. So
Oh, and if they're rich, I guess it's a platinum alert. But anyway, so 435, 300 is what's transmitting on. Acquire it slightly above and work it. There's no definitive moment in time to change frequencies, just fiddle back and forth. Again, it's rocket science, but it ain't rocket science. So here is how you derive Doppler for a given frequency. And I don't see anybody with slide rules out. No, I have one, but I can't reach it. Engineers love this stuff. I've done this for you already. Here's a decent pass of a LEO. Look on 2 meters there, only plus or minus 3 kilohertz deviation, only 6 total kilohertz deviation on that pass. Nothing to worry about. But look at 440, just to the nature of Doppler, a 20 kilohertz deviation in that signal. That's why we have to accommodate whether you're transmitting or receiving just on the 440 side of these 2 meter 440 crossband repeaters in the sky. Well, if LEO is low Earth orbiting, then HEO must be low and high. Yes, thank you. And geosynchronous, we don't have a geosynchronous satellite in the amateur world over Central and North America. If you had asked AMSAT 20 years ago, they've said it just cannot happen. It's too expensive. It needs to be maneuverable so it doesn't bump into your ESPN coverage of the Super Bowl. And it's just a horribly expensive real estate up there. But we have a SpaceX board member who's a ham radio operator. That might be the launch opportunity. It's going to happen within the next 10 years. I think we're going to, this is not a pronouncement from AMSAT or anything. I just think in the next 10 years, we might have a geosynchronous satellite that'll be workable Central, South, and North America. Not 2 meter 440, but imagine the American Red Cross having that resource during disasters in the U.S. You and I'll be able to put together a station for less than $1,000 to work it, probably 5 gig, 10 gig. Anyway, so geosynchronous, not yet for us in North America. That's redundant. Uplink is your transmitted signal up to the satellite. Downlink is the signal down to you. Footprint is the circular pattern on Earth where you should be line of sight of the satellite, and the software programs we'll talk about will show you what footprints are. They're usually very conservative in what they say. You're looking for elevation, and don't, if you're beginning, don't do the less than 5 degree passes. It just might be frustrating. Work the ones that are above 5 degree elevation. And now you're probably wondering why. You've got HF, you've got your local repeaters. Santa's coming on 2 meter 440 repeaters next month. Why work these 10 or 12 minute passes? They should be in no one's 911 plan. I mean, this is not going to coincide with your regional disaster, this 12-minute pass. It's just something else we can do as a technician in this extraordinary hobby we call amateur radio. There's nothing more exciting than for me than to walk out to a public park, tape measure beam, whip out some minor equipment and start talking to a terrestrial station or talking to a satellite. It brings people over. I will always have the Longmont, Colorado Club brochure in my pocket, or you should, and it always stimulates conversation. You're doing that with a tape measure, and you get them excited about space. The kids will tell you what they're learning in school as far as STEM. It's just a conversation starter. It's just another aspect of this hobby. So this is no better than anything else. It's just another hat we can wear in this wonderful hobby. Let's go to 2004 when we launched AO51. AO51 cost a little bit more than $61 to launch it. That's our pooch alert. Amazon delivered. Oh, okay. It was the most magnificent educational satellite ever. It was so easily worked. There it is, the little 11-inch CubeSat. There we are on the payload. There we are on the front left. There are 2 other CubeSats on there, but we're the only amateur piece of gear on that payload. Again, sun synchronous. We had 1.2 gig up every other weekend. We'd turn on, it's usually 2 meter up, 440 down. It was just remarkably easy to work. Hams were going to classrooms and lunchtime at schools working this. It was just phenomenally easy, phenomenally reliable, just an extraordinary. It passed away a few years ago. And be careful as you cruise the web, please. I had a scoutmaster call me 3 years ago. He was really upset with me that he could not work AL51 in front of his audience. Well, AL51 died 8 years ago. But getting started with satellites, information is on the web. Yeah, Chris, Chuck, you know what I'm saying? So please, as you cruise the web, make sure you're getting information from sites that respect you enough to date what you're looking at. AMSAT.org does a good job. My website was last updated 45 minutes ago, work-sat.com, work-sat.com, AMSAT-UK, AMSAT-UK. Just make sure what you're looking at is dated. This session right now, if we're recording this is going to be outdated in 2 weeks because the ISS is going to change from its crossband repeater mode to packet. So please, as you're looking for information, stick with some really good sites and that lets you know what's going on as far as what dates are concerned. Again, sun synchronous. When your wife goes on her first trip to Tibet for 6 weeks, you go to some websites that have some telemetry birds up and you download their decoding software. And this is just, to me, it's just this cool stuff when the spouse is gone. Solar panel, love you. Solar panel conditions, battery load conditions, temperature. This is just cool stuff. You can download this as it goes over you and then upload this data to the control operators so they can see what it's doing over North America. Anything, Brian, is this cool stuff or is this too geeky, Brian? Thumbs up, Brian, thumbs down. Oh, cool. This is cool stuff. Again, while you're alone in the house. The Saudis have a satellite up for us. You can leave your hands down as I ask you to please raise your hand if you have a HT battery that's lasted 19 years. Anybody have an HT battery last 19 years? This bird was launched in 2002. Oh, it's a little off frequency. Oh, it's a little, I think the technical term is finicky. You can look that up on Wikipedia later. A little finicky to get into, but it's up there running for you 24/7, and it's 19 years old. 19 years, there wasn't lithium ion yet, so it's some chemistry of NiCad that is working. It's only a quarter of a watt down, still very doable with not with your stock duck, but very doable with a little bit of gain. SO50. I forgot to ask, any AMSAT folks here? Any AMSAT members in the house? A couple? Cool. Okay.
Not yet.
Cool. Okay, not yet. Thank you. 501c3. Ask your CPA. AO27 died about 8 years ago. Then 5 or 6 years ago, it came back for some reason. We're not sure why. We know cold solder joints don't repair themselves in space, but this has been reprogrammed. AO27 should work for you the first 3 or 4 minutes of a pass over North America. So AO27, programmed similarly to SO50, should work for you the first 3 or 4 minutes of a North American pass. Unfortunately, the last couple of birds we have put up have not performed as we wanted them to. 91 and 92, please do not try to work these unless they are being hit by the sun. If you're not getting a sunburn, please don't try to work them. Just catastrophic problems with them. One is putting out 15 milliwatts. One is, if you do hear things, I'll show you how to report that to the control operators. But unfortunately, 91, 92, you don't use the F word. You don't use failure. A lot of learning went into this, not only for students and schools and engineers involved, but they're not performing. When you had AO51, you got spoiled. Same thing with the RAD-FX experiment from Vanderbilt University, AO109. I don't know if this is failed. It never got off the ground. That's a poor choice of words. It never was working properly. I don't know if it's because it was in complete darkness for so long, because the launch was delayed several times. I'm not sure. I'm not an engineer. But AO109 only putting out a few milliwatts. If you do hear it, I'll show you how to report that to control operators. So minimum requirements. 2 radios, a handheld that does true full duplex. There is not a currently made HT that does both 2 meter 440 or 440 and 440 2 meter, each of those splits properly. The Wushan UV9D Plus, marketed by PowerWorks, sold through HRO, will do the 440, the 2 meter down ones correctly, but doesn't do SO50 well. It's a descents problem. So you can use 2 radios, get someone else involved, have them stand 20 feet away from you. True full duplex is the best way to work these again. It allows you to know if you're getting into the satellite and making sure you're not actually stepping on someone. You're going to be improving your antenna, and we'll get some software suggestions or satellite path prediction suggestions here for you in a second. Any FT60 owners in the building? FT60? Yeah, Brian, this was debuted at Dayton in 2004. 2004. It is still the best feature set in a 2 meter 440 FM voice radio, HT. 1,000 memories, receives 108 to a gig, receives AM aircraft properly, easy to manually program, large legible display, and its power situation. It's got a little FBA battery tray that you can populate with either AA nickel metal hydride or AA alkalins, and still have full transmit power available to you if you need it. Put the AA pack on your FT70, you've got 250 milliwatts for a few minutes. Put the AA pack on your THF6 from Kenwood, you've got 300 milliwatts for maybe 10 minutes. This is an extraordinary little radio. And I'm a big fan of not using full power. I mean, if you're not making it with an improved antenna at 2 watts, you're not going to make it at 4 or 5 watts. So anyway, FT60, amazing radio. You can program this to have 2 meter 440 in one memory location. So it can be transmitted on 2 meter, receive on 440 in one memory location. And if you do that properly in programming, the plus and the minus sign will appear in your display. This is on page 28-ish of your owner's manual. To improve that stock antenna, to receive some slow scan TV from the ISS, that SRH 320 diamond antenna, great antenna, but it's always 14 inches long, and it's $50. Want a better performer on 2 meter at half the price, which collapses to 4.5 inches. You get stock duct performance there, but you fully extend the Smiley 270. You've got a full quarter wave 2 meter antenna. Afraid of damaging your HT's antenna connector? There's a beefy coil in the base of this to protect your antenna. To protect your HT. And if you do work different antennas a lot, please consider maybe changing out that SMA to BNC with an adapter. Quality SMA connectors are only rated at about 300 connect disconnects. And if you're working with a less expensive rig, a Baofeng or something, can I say Baofeng?
Yes, you may.
Okay, if you're working with a less expensive radio, that's not a quality SMA connector. So I'd rather see you wear out a $12 adapter than ruin a radio or have a $65 repair job at Yaesu. Except for that connector on the left, the Yaesu CN3, I think it should be outlawed. And here is why. Imagine putting a little bit of weight with an antenna or some heavy coax on either of these two. The one on the left, the arrow is pointing to its metal to metal contact. There's no give at all. Anything that you bend, drop the radio, is being transmitted directly to the circuit board, yanking off the center pin of the SMA. Compare that to something with some cushion on it, like that hard rubber pliable gasket there on the right. It's a shock absorber. A shock absorber provides some protection. The one on the left does not. And I've seen this worse. If you just ate, turn around. Don't look at this. This is horrible. I've seen these in the field. Yeah, N down to SMA and PL down to SMA. And let's see, if you are faint of heart, weak stomach, or have a pacemaker, please be aware.
The following is not suited for minors. Viewer discretion is advised.
You have been warned. Oh, Chuck, I don't know, Chuck. I think, Steve, there's an F connector in there. There's a cable key. Assuming they're even making electrical connection, a third of a dB lossy. Don't do this to your radio. Don't do this. Don't let a reporter or someone say, oh, is that why they call it amateur radio? No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go to Radio Shack and buy one of everything. HRO, ham radio outlet. Hamradioutlet.com. No, Hamradio.com, the largest amateur radio dealer in the known universe, has little jumper cables and these little adapters by Diamond. There's a lot of difference between how antennas and adapters mate to the top of your case. So ask a fellow ham with the same radio what adapter is the best for you. When your wife goes on her second trip to Tibet for 6 weeks, you whip out your old Motorola test equipment and you start testing HT antennas. Please, if any of your members say, hey, I've got a great project, I want to test HT antennas, grab him or her by the shoulders, give them a gentle shake, and just say no. This is a total waste of time, a total waste of time. As we all learned in adolescence, longer is better. And for a 2-meter 440 work, about 17 inches is what you want your antenna to be. That's the RDA, the Prime RDA 98, little springy piano wire antenna. 17 inches is about where you want to be, VHF or UHF. Don't let anybody test HT antennas. It's a waste of time. Longer is better. Double your pleasure. Oh, I remember this ad campaign. We already talked about this. People are complaining about battery life. FT70 battery life is horrible. Well, here's how you can, I'm not going to charge you, Kat, anymore for this tip. Here's how you can double your battery life. Improve your antenna and turn it down to 2 watts. Again, the engineers on the call will admit or will agree, if you're not making it 2 watts line of sight to your local repeater, you're not going to make it at 4 or 5. So that just doubled your battery life. You want to improve your battery life even more? Use an earpiece or a headset. I know you're thinking, what's Clint drinking? No, what kills the battery? What kills the energy? Key in the mic and transmitting and loud audio. What is the first thing you'll do with your audio control if you put an earpiece in your ear? Turn it. Yes, sir. Thank you, Steve. Steve gave us a visual representation of, now he's above the equator, so that was clockwise. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, turn it. So I just more than doubled your battery. You don't need to get a second battery for FT70. We just more than doubled your battery life. No extra charge for that for the session tonight. I used to have this as a bumper sticker on my car until I realized I really needed to take my marriage more seriously. But when you key your mic on your handheld out in the front yard, your antenna is held straight up, your radiated signal essentially going out about 90 degrees from the top third of the antenna, expecting to hit your friend across the street or your hilltop repeater. Well, most of our amateur satellites are not land-based. 3, 2, 1. Most of our amateur satellites are not. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. So you need to get that perpendicular relationship to the orbit of that satellite. You'll be opening up your squelch all the way. We are talking weak signals from a few hundred miles away. But once you start accessing it, you'll hear a slight dip in the background static, and you'll find your sweet spot. You're starting to capture it. So you need to get perpendicular. I still have that as a magnetic car sign if anybody wants that. Oh, none of you are there yet, but when you get to be 91, 92 years of age, this type of picture, you get emotional. This young man on the left, this is at the Santa Barbara Ham Fest a couple of years ago. He just received his ham radio license the day before. His very first contact as a ham was working satellites with me that day. Is that cool? Steve, it gets even better. His dad and his grandfather were there. I had 3 generations of a family, each working satellites for their very first time. And right next in my shirt pocket, my Hawaiian shirt pocket, in my coffin, I want my picture of my wife, and I want this one in there. And this is a real cool picture. When you get to be old, you get weepy over things like that. Back to the Arrow antenna. The Arrow antenna is a commercial antenna, a little pricey, $165 for the one that has a diplexer in it, which allows you to use the 2-meter elements, the 440 elements into one radio. It's a little front heavy. If you notice at the end of the boom there's a hole there. They are tapped 1/4-20 for camera tripods. Make sure you get a heavy duty or a medium duty tripod. It is front heavy. But that being all that front heavy, it puts stress on your wrist and your elbow and your shoulder. So what I've done is I made the whole thing heavier, but it's counterbalanced now. The HT goes in this little tray in the back, and that Stanley hacksaw handle, any orthopedic surgeon will tell you, yeah, that pistol grip makes it a much more ergonomical situation for you. Because I wasn't paying attention to this. The arrow points to you where the damage is, but I just happened to go right across town to your orthopedic center of the Rockies, and they diagnosed this for me a few years ago. And Chuck, you're not going to believe what they diagnosed it as. Oh, the band is here. I gotta pay Union Scale for that. Thank you, guys. Yes, aerial wrist syndrome. So please don't be a victim of aerial wrist syndrome. Just be wary. Hold this up for for 12 minutes at a time for a few hundred passes. Don't wear your wrist out. So there is the Aero hacksaw handle. The bottle of Tang is empty. It's just my homage to the USS Space Race. The little cue card on my demonstration antenna is working ISS slow scan TV. The guy on the roof, I think that's my parole officer, just taking evidentiary photos. And Joe Walsh has been a fan of amateur radio for many years, and hold everything together with one of those charity bracelets. So there you go. There you go. And these are moving. They aren't always up there. They aren't geostationary. They're moving all the time. Where are they? How do you know that? Well, here is your AMSAT engineering team. We are working 24/7 to benefit you. We are working out satellite passes for you. I'm sorry. That's just so Cold War-ish. I love that photo. I love that photo. So with your slide rules, Kat told you to all bring your slide rules. With your slide rules, here's how you can derive yourself your pass information for when it goes over your house. With a slide rule, just plug in the epoch time, element set, inclination, RI node, eccentricity, arc of the perigee, mean anomaly, motion, decay rate, epoch sum. Don't forget the checksum, and then graph this all out on your equatorial graph paper. Got it? Outstanding. Do this for every pass you want, for every satellite you want. No, don't worry. Don't worry. All the programs and sources, this is all done for you. Don't worry about it. Anybody still using a Palm? Anybody still have a little Trio 650? Oh man, if you do, batteriesamerica.com. Batteriesamerica.com. I've been dealing with them for almost 30 years. They have a lot of AA dry cases for your older HTs too. Batteriesamerica.com. Great people. But anyway, okay, nobody with a Palm. If you have an older iPod Touch or a old phone you've traded in that has no SIM card in it, with an older iOS, PocketSat 3 will give you these beautiful representations of your passes. Hamsat Droid. Well, there's a trivia question right there. What's wrong with that picture?
They weren't paying attention.
Let's see, it's AO.
South, north, north to south.
You are absolutely correct. And I apologize. Is it Rahman?
Yeah.
Was I close?
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay, cool. You are absolutely correct. Sun synchronous. Will east to west pass happen? No. This is while we were beta testing this software. This is a pass that'll never happen. That program is now known as AMSAT Droid Free. AMSAT Droid Free for you Droid folks in the Google Play Store. Cool program. No, there's only 2 of those left in the Smithsonian. Never mind. G-Predict. Boy, any Linux folks? Oh, Chuck. This is a freebie. I take this to shows with me. There it is on the right, running off a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. It'll run on a 0. It even controls rotators. But G-Predict is a phenomenal program. It can be ported to Mac and to Windows also via third-party. I usually have a 32-inch monitor. It's usually on here all the time, but it gives a weird glare for the show. Great program. G-Predict. It's beautiful. It is gorgeous. Tracks multiple satellites. Oh, it's just cool. The errors that can be made in any of this, you need to know your time of day. Sounds silly, but we just went through daylight savings time and your grid square. Because if either of those 2 pieces of information are wrong, you're going to get a satellite pass over Germany, which is cool, but you just don't happen to be there. So just make sure. And if you're starting out, use 2 sources. There's some free stuff. Use 2 sources to look at the satellite tracking information to make sure they're both the same. I just 3 years ago at Ham Radio Outlet in San Diego on a Sunday, I was giving a demo. Daylight savings time occurred. Thank goodness it was an hour later, so I just filled in time. But yeah, know your time of day and your location. My primary program I use right now is for the modern iPhones. It's GoSatWatch, all one word. Not cheap. It's $10. Written by a Canadian ham who's responsive. NASA earlier this year changed the manner in which we acquire ISS pass data. Within 2 weeks, this author had his program rewritten and up on the Apple Store. That is a responsive author. It's well worth the $9.95 if you're interested in satellites at all and have a iPhone or the iPads. GoSatWatch, great program, $9.95. For Windows notebooks or Windows workstations. SAT PC 32 is a commercial program. It's obviously gives you gorgeous results. We'll also control some rotators for you. It's a commercial program, but members of AMSAT get a little discount on it. Another Windows program is Nova for Windows. It was commercial. It's now freeware, which means it's not being updated, but I know people who have, not on the new Windows, but Windows 10, just so people working successfully in Windows 10. Any Mac folks? Any Mac folks on the call tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Chuck, I apologize. Well, I don't apologize, but I've used this low-res Jiffy thing for Windows, and then Mac Doppler Pro. Clint's got a Mac. My change of life was in 2006 after 22 years in Windows. Mac Doppler Pro, another commercial program, obviously gorgeous. Also controls rotators at some point in time if you want. You get a discount on it if you are a member of AMSAT. All right, it is that time. This is our homage to Alex Trebek, who, please, has the final Jeopardy answer. Pardon? I know Stephen know.
Form of a question. Ed has it in the form of a question.
Unmute yourselves. What do you got? Anybody?
There's chicken.
He's put it in the chat.
Kepler.
Kepler is well, I'm sorry, it must be in the form of a question. Ooh, the guy from California. The guy from California is a smartass. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Kepler?
You are absolutely correct, Johannes Kepler. And the story behind this is I've never known Final Jeopardy before. I've never known Final Jeopardy since. But when this one came on, my wife heard me. She was 12 miles away at a meeting. She heard me screaming out the living room window. And I have to play that entire 30-second clip. That's my relationship with Sony Entertainment Network, because if I do cut it off, they have attorneys that are very, very aggressive. So thank you, Sony Entertainment Network. Yes, Johannes Kepler. Oh, and I'm sorry, let's go back to it. Just think of that as a mathematical statement of the orbit of a satellite. And at midnight tonight, my time, 1 o'clock your time, I'm going to do a little private Zoom session. We can decode some of this if you'd like. Yeah, nobody raised their hand. Nobody raised their hand. I guess we'll cancel that meeting. Free online information for you is available at heavensabove.com, heavens-above.com. Oh my God, Steve is writing things down. Steve, this is all on my website. Actually, it's all on a 3-page handout on my website. I could have just mailed this to you and stayed recuperating. But thank you, Steve. N2YO.com, N2YO.com, or good old AMSAT.org. Heavens Above and N2YO give you the beautiful graphic representations of your map and city and things. AMSAT, I don't want to sound like I'm being prejudiced or anything, but AMSAT is for the engineers. All it gives you after you tell it your location and the satellite you want, all it gives you is a page full of numbers. But you're looking at the column for maximum elevation. You're looking for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 degree elevation, and then going to the left to seeing what time of day that is, where on the compass it's going to break the horizon, and where it's going. But please, if you use AMSAT's information, please remember they work on Greenwich Mean Time. It's all UTC time. I used to, Chuck, yeah, thank you, Chuck. I used to carry the phone with me to bed. I get a call 2 or 3 in the morning. Clint, it's not there. It's not there. I go, well, are you using AMSAT's data? Well, yeah, I am. You told me to. Did you back out for Greenwich Mean Time? Click. So anyway, that's the only one that uses Greenwich Mean Time. So please be cognizant of that. Cognizant. I got a 3-syllable word out under pain meds. That's pretty good. Yeah, it is good drugs. Let's keep going. Worksat.com, that's my website. And N2YO made this little widget for me. It lets you know where the popular satellites are right now, so you can match things up. It's kind of cool. Work-sat.com. General procedures, you're going to listen. You're going to open up your squelch all the way and monitor. Here's something that sounds weird, and SO50 is the exception. But if you can't hear it, don't key your mic. Sounds weird. But we just know that 91 is not working, 92 is not working, 27 is not working 100%. So if a control operator is in your time zone or in your sphere or your orbit, pun intended, is trying to command things and you and I key up, no one's going to get through. Watch AMSAT's site, watch the page I'll give you in a couple minutes that has the status of satellites. You'll know what's up and running, but blindly don't go out and key the mic if you don't hear someone else. And you being almost on the West Coast, there's almost always, I never use absolutes. Kat will appreciate that. I never use absolutes, but there's almost always someone for you. You're far enough west to work the, unless there's a pass just too far to the west, but there's always gonna be somebody for you there on the FM satellites. And be courteous and quick. If it's the weekend, these are just exchanges of grid squares for those who are going after grid square contests or certificates, and you're going to get right off. You're not going to be discussing the weather. You're not going to be discussing the beautiful weather in Longmont. It's just going to be a quickie. Wednesday or Thursday night, 9 or 10 o'clock at night, you'll be able to chat for a couple minutes. But these are weekends, scouting events, field day. Some people call it chaos. No one's intentionally out there with harmful interference or intentional interference. Are people stepping on each other? Yeah. Is it intentional to harm? No. It's just a bunch of people trying to get on. It's very exciting. And then the other side of that, a gentleman from France, this is the 17th, about 10 days ago, emailed me. He had the ISS's crossband repeater all to himself on a late night pass over France. I asked my wife, do you have enough frequent flyer miles? So imagine having the ISS crossband repeater for you, which, on Saturday, Sunday, prime time, you never get into. He was the only one on there. No one else is that. So off peak hours, you'll generally have better success. How far can you go with these? This is by no means a record. This is 2,000 miles from my house to Athens, Georgia. We each were using Arrow antennas, and I apologize, we were each using 4 watts of transmit power. The footprint, look at the footprint in the upper right. It says I'm only going next door, I'm only going 500 miles max. So the footprints that are shown in some of the software programs are very, very conservative. This is, again, by no means this is a record, but then again, nope, I can't guarantee I can do this every night either. But just if your elevation is more than 5 or 6 or 7 degrees, try it with your improved antenna. Now, if we were at the meeting room this evening, everybody know what the grid square is over at the meeting room? That is your meeting room, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks like it at the, well, we've had multiple meeting rooms, but that looks like the one at the fairgrounds.
That's the Culver
Yeah.
room, isn't it?
Well,
Okay,
yeah, Culver room.
Who knows what the grid square is, the Culver room?
I think it's DN70, but I don't know what the other part of the grid
Oh, you
square
don't need
is.
to know you don't need to know suffix. That's cool, but you are correct. It is DN70, and is that it? Is that your building?
That would be the building we've used. Yes.
Cool. I'm sorry I couldn't stay for the meeting tonight. Just shot that, put the tripod up and shot that and came right back. Use the international phonetics for your work, especially when attempting the ISS. They're not expecting David Nancy. They're expecting a Delta November, and you don't need to know suffix. But yeah, DN70. Give yourself a pat on the back. We already discussed that. What I take with me to demos is that Yaesu FT60, that sub $200 radio. I own the THD72. I just don't take it with me to shows. I don't want people to think, well, he really uses the expensive radio to get this done. It can be done with a much lesser radio. Last show, I took the Elk with me. 2 shows before, I took back when we were in person, took the tape measure beam. It just, whatever. And some sort of adapter cable or something to protect my radio's SMA connector. For SO50, here's how I have it programmed. Look at the transmit frequency on 2 meters. Do we accommodate for Doppler on 2 meters on satellites? No, but we do on receive when it's 440. Right there in the middle, it's 436.795 is it's a little off frequency, but that's close enough. Again, this is rocket science, but it ain't rocket science. And you're going to don't go out to 810 and don't go down to 785. That was Clint being retentive. Just go to 795 for the middle, then 800 and 805. And a lot of satellites require a tone on transmit. Leave, receive, open tone. Leave, receive, open tone. And this one happens to want a 67. What is that blue arrow? Anybody know why that 74.4 is in the middle there?
That's to activate it.
Oh, Chuck, you're too good. Say you've worked SO50 for a couple months and you know it's there and you got it down. You've got it nailed. Well, insomnia hit you and you're up Wednesday night. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You go into your shack. Huh, SO50 is going over in 5 minutes. You walk outside. Let's see, is it cold? It's not that cold in Longmont. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it
You
is.
walk outside. Okay. You get your park. You get your park on. Go in the backyard. Key the mic. Nothing's there. Well, a fellow ham might not have known that with a 74, if you shoot it at 74.4 for a couple seconds, you turn on its 10-minute timer. You become the control operator of a satellite. Is that cool or what? You think I wasn't scared crudless the first time I did that? I thought, oh God, it's going to crash in my koi pond. The AMSAT handcuffs are going to be tight. No, a fellow ham might not have known how to turn it on. You do. Turn it on with 74.4 and then go back to 67 and work it. You become the control operator. How cool is that? There's AO91. We're receiving on 2 meters, so we're not changing, we're not accommodating for Doppler, but for transmitting, you're going to transmit slightly below, work it in the middle, and lose it a little bit higher. And please, again, with 91 and 92, they are not working well. Don't expect miracles. And please only try to access them when they're being hit with the sun. The battery condition is that, like a technical term, is miserable. Yeah. You know when they're going to be there. You know where they're going to be in the sky. You know your grid square. Your radio is programmed. You wait for a break in the action. Use your own call sign, please. But wait for a break in the action. Key the mic, Kilo 6, Lima Charlie Sierra, Delta November 70. And then I say handheld, or I might say demo. It's only a third of a second of airtime. Some AMSAT folks don't like me doing that, but it lets the diehards know here's someone who might be newer with low power. When you say demo, that means you're trying to show the system off to a group. Yeah, I wouldn't say, I'm in Longmont, Colorado this afternoon having a cappuccino with the guy, but no, handheld or demo is perfectly acceptable. It's going to let that guy in Texas with a foot switch, 100 watts, and the bourbon know that there's someone who wants to get in here. Let's back off a little bit and let them in. Chuck, don't. That's truer, Chuck, than I want to admit right now. You can tell because he's got the big echoey room with no sound dampening whatsoever. And when you start working satellites, you'll get to know personalities. Some hams record passes. I don't do that in public. It looks too big brotherish. But recording passes to review later, you'll get to know people's voices and call signs. Because when you think about it, if you're using a handheld antenna, you have to hold the handheld radio with another hand, hold the speaker mic with a third hand, hold the clipboard with a fourth hand, hold the pencil with a fifth hand, hold the pina colada with a sixth hand. Pardon? Oh, the compass if you're so inclined, or an inclinometer if you're so compassed. So you start running out of hands. So don't overthink it. Don't go out and buy an Olympus recorder. The voice recorder on your iOS device, on your smartphone. Just turn it on, slip it in your pocket. So you don't have to write down those call signs. And you'll get to know voices and call signs as you do this. Oh God, I can't see it. Siri, enlarge that 50%. All right, thank you. This is the live Oscar status page. Thank you, Ramon. This is where data you and I put into this site to let not only fellow hams know what's up and running, blue is good. It lets the control operators know what they're doing their satellites work. So the very top one there, AO92, spotty. Well, we expect that. AO27 though, the second red arrow. Look at that, blue all the way across. Why did 3 people in there say they didn't hear it? Might not have been that first 3 or 4 minutes of the North American Pass, but look at that. That's 95% blue. That's cool. The third arrow down, SO50, blue all the way across. AO91, the fourth arrow down, working marvelously. The ISS is in crossband repeater mode right now. I can't see it, but it's the very bottom line. It should be almost all blue. They're going to change to packet. This is November 17th. In 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, they're going to go to the packet station. But right now, ISS crossband repeater is up and running. So this site is easy to put information in. You go to it. There's a drop-down list of the satellites. You click whether the uplink and downlink was active, or if it's just packet, you'll click the downlink only that you heard. Or if you really think it should be there and it wasn't, do not be afraid to say not heard. When you go back to the site and say, oh, I'm the only one with a red, don't worry about it. No one is accusing any. This is just all information. Maybe you didn't hear it, but when you go back to see that everybody else did, check your cabling, see what's going on. WO0UM, who's that? Huh. Somebody was on there working SO50 yesterday. That's cool. That's cool. And submit this data. And look at that donate button there. It goes directly to AMSAT. You can use that donate button liberally. The ISS slow scan TV, we hope to have one from the Russians by the end of the year in December. These can be as simple to receive as holding up your handheld radio to your smartphone that has a $3 app on it. No cabling, no Windows drivers, no sound card. It can be that simple to get these gorgeous images. And did you know that just by hearing the ISS, hearing a packet burst, hearing an astronaut talk to students on the Earth, hearing a conversation on the crossband repeater, that qualifies you to receive this gorgeous QSL card? And then when you work at packet, or when you work at voice, or when you work at crossband repeat, you can apply for another mode. But the instructions are on my site. If you go to the ISS page, Bruce Hunter here in Southern California is the ARISS ISS QSL card manager. The instructions are there. Self-addressed envelope. Slip $1 in there for him too, please. We're all volunteers, and it's appreciated. But yeah, you can get this gorgeous QSL card just for hearing it, not necessarily working it. All right, that's the end of part one of this 3-part series this evening. Chuck, who's got a question? Who's got something I couldn't have been that all encompassing.
I had somebody actually post a couple things on chat here for you, Clint.
Cool.
And,
let's do it.
one of them is one of the questions: why do they change, or why are they changing to packet mode? Do you know?
Well, we can't do more than one mode at a time out of that Kenwood TMD 710. There's a lot of packet folks, a lot of APRS aficionados. Just another aspect of the hobby. I don't know if that answered his question or not. It's just a different mode they go into every couple months. They'll switch to please the packet people, and then you and I'll just wait for the crossband repeat to come on.
And just so everybody knows, the ISS was at 35 degrees elevation at 7:50 this evening, 1950 for those of you on 24-hour time. And I actually heard the crossband repeater going off. So I heard a couple conversations going on while you were talking.
Outstanding.
And if anybody wants to listen again, 2123, it's not going to be very high, only 13 degrees, but you turn your radios on and you might be able to hear the conversations going on in the repeaters, on the ISS repeaters. So
you will hear that 2-meter downlink, extremely strong.
Yeah.
2 meter versus 440 for that downlink is about 5-6 dB increase in signal strength to you and I on the ground. So 2-meter downlinks are great. Anything else in chat?
Says they were on the AMSAT Facebook group. Lots of people are spending lots of money for Yagis on dual axis rotors with computer controlled pointing and tracking. Says a sympathize with the desire to not be standing outside in a field during a rainstorm or snowstorm in the middle of the night, but things get very complicated and expensive. What do you think?
Oh, you're absolutely right. This can be done as simply. My mantra, and what I'm trying to let folks know, is that don't be afraid of this. You can do it with equipment you probably already have. Is there a Harbor Freight in town?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, there's your tape measure beam. Please,
not anymore. They don't give away them anymore. No tape measures. No more free tape measures. All gone.
$1.99. Please, on the ends of those elements, I found at the department store little foam rubber, kind of semi-hard golf balls. Please slice it and put those on the end of your elements, because they are sharp. No matter what you do, no matter how you grind it, those are sharp. My attorney has said, Clint, either give everybody goggles or tell them to put the foam rubber balls on the end, because they will slice you. So just be careful with that. And they're cute, they're colorful, it adds things to it. Some people say, well, my beams flop. And I said, you need to see a urologist really quickly. And no, my antenna beams, my tape measure beam. Thank you, Chuck. I have inserted little 1/4 inch wooden dowels behind the reflector and the director inside the PVC pipe, and then zip tie them at the end to make that rigid. I do not suffer from floppy beam syndrome. Do I, dear?
No, you don't.
Thank you, dear. So that will, because in a windy situation, but no, you're right. This can be as simple as Doug, for his last name on my website, found some barbed wire pieces, barbed wire, made a 2-meter 440 Yagi out of it, and successfully worked the ISS. So this can be everything from a barbed wire antenna. And if you're doing the computer control, you might accommodate for Doppler a little bit.
May I make an editorial comment?
Yes, dear.
Do not use your significant other's tape measure that's in front of the drawer, and do not use your significant other's Fiskars to cut it.
Do not use your spouse's Fisker. Don't touch your spouse's Fiskars. And yeah, use the tape measure. It's out in the garage. Not that. Yes, thank you, dear.
Yeah, love you.
Boy, that's not from firsthand experience, is it, dear?
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't. Okay. So did I answer? Yes, your station can be as simple as that. But yeah, if you're inclement weather time, it might cost more to do this. You can do this with a vertical, but a vertical is not going to be anywhere as efficient as that $15 tape. Your $300 vertical for 2-meter 440 is not going to be as efficient as a handmade Yagi. But for the pass, it's about 20 degrees off the horizon, 25 degrees. You might be able to work it. You're going to have to compensate with some more power because you have no gain compared to the Yagi. So that's how some people have gotten through the bad winters. But no, you're absolutely right. It can be as simple as less than $200 to a few $1,000s to have the same wonderful results. Did that answer his question?
I
You think?
think it might have, yes. I got a couple
Okay.
more popping up here as well for you.
Cool. Cool.
What do you think of the app ISS Detector?
What I've what I have offered on my website are programs I happen to know, and that I know you can get instant answers from either my website or from the authors. IS Detector is a great program. There's a program out there called Orbitron.
Mhm.
People swear by it. It has not been updated in 15 years. That just to me means I don't want folks getting into this to have that obstacle of not getting an answer to a software program. So that's why my antenna plans are all proven. If you just follow the directions, you don't need any test equipment. And the 5 or 6 programs that I recommend for the different for the different operating systems, I just happen to know you can call the author or get an answer quickly. IS Detector is great. There's a load of them. There's a bunch of satellite prediction software out there, but just know where I'm coming from. I want you to have the least obstacles at first, and then move on, graduate, explore more with other programs. ISS Detector is great. Absolutely.
I had a comment. I got rid of my slide rule and got an HP 35 back in August of 70. One of our engineers.
Was that the LED, the red LED one?
It didn't say, it just says HP 35. So
Oh, thank you.
we got another question.
We're so proud.
Yeah, well, I'm probably one of the younger folks in the club, so I never really had a slide ruler. So I'm
Yes,
sorry,
that
less
was-
experienced.
That was the red LED first calculator.
That drained that 9-volt rectangular battery in a couple hours. Oh wow! I remember pulling off the freeway when the LED watches came out. I remember pulling off on the side of the freeway to watch it change from 1159 to 1200. That's how exciting those were, and how miserable a life I had in the 60s or early 70s until I met you, dear. Yes, yes.
That is the 10-digit LED, 10 to the minus 99th, 10 to the plus 99th. And professors at that time had to give 2 curves, one for the guys that had slide rules and one for the guys that had calculators.
Wow. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Chuck, anything else in the chat box?
Yeah, actually got what is involved in running an NSSTV event from the ISS? It seems like most of the sessions are run from the Russian side. Is there support for SSTV on the US radio system?
Yes, and there will be more as we get more of the planned 10-part ARISS interoperable radio system up to the ISS. We'll have a SSTV coming from the Columbus module. But you're right, most of the SSTV programs are Russian-centric, usually with cosmonauts and a lot of times only really on when it's over Russia. So for us, for some folks on the East Coast, sometimes get a little bit of overlap on some of those, but us, we're too far west for. But I've got it programmed, and I'm watching the ISS, and if there's one going on, I'm going to be listening. But just please watch ariss.org for announcements of when we'll have mode changes, and we might have a slow scan TV from the Columbus module.
Well, that's all the guys here. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to bring up? Otherwise, I got a couple of comments and questions that I'll wait for last. Let the rest of the club speak up first.
I'd be interested in knowing what he does for a living, or if he's retired.
For these next 3 or 4 months, I'm recuperating from the shoulder surgery. My arm is pasted to my chest here for 2 months. I'm working for Fuji Photo. In that nation's largest retail chain, there are some photo labs with self-serve kiosks and nice Fuji equipment. I train associates to work those machines and work on those printers. I've got 65 stores here in Southern California, Las Vegas, that I usually run. So that's what I do. And then this, how much money there is in amateur radio. This is just fun and games. Was that one question regarding slow scan TV, or was it regarding the ARISS projects?
Just slow scan TV.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Any other questions from the? Otherwise, I always have questions for our presenters. So,
is there anything on the screen right now?
Not as far as chat. Well,
how about
hey, tell Clint to talk more about the ISS.
Oh, pardon? You want to hear more about the ISS? Oh, good. I got some slides.
Thank you. I got
you.
another question for you really quick too, if you want to do that.
Okay, we'll slow down. Okay, go ahead.
Is there a satellite you'd recommend specifically for brand new to satellite hams?
The one that's over your house.
Yeah, the one that's over your house right now. Next question, please. No, to be serious, the ISS's crossband repeater is up for 6 to 8 weeks at a time. That is extraordinarily easy. The next easiest one would be SO50. But you will need a full 4 watts into a better antenna. A better, again, not expensive, but better Yagi or a tape measure Yagi or something. But SO50, there it is. Oh my gosh. And folks, if you travel with your tape measure beam, please give yourself at least 3 hours at the airport, because it is a guaranteed cavity search. They have no idea what that is.
No, you check that. You don't put it on, take on the plane with you.
Yeah, they'll find you. They will find you. All right, someone asked about the ISS. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you were talking about rubber things on the ends. I've actually found electrical tape on the ends of the tape measure. Works for me, and it seems to stay on pretty good.
Or 3 layers of Plastidip, PLASTI-DIP. I think it's outlawed in California because it was a hallucinogenic sniffing experience.
Everything's outlawed in California.
Everything's outlawed in California. The ISS. Somebody asked about the ISS. There's our 2-meter 440 antenna on the Columbus module. No, that's not me. There are 3 antennas on the Russian module. Go to ariss.org to find out what the status is of that equipment. Right now, it's telling us that the D710 is configured. It is on crossband repeat right now. And about December 5th or December 7th, we're going to flip it over to packet mode. There are a couple simplex frequencies, weird 2-meter split frequencies that are used for FM voice when an astronaut has some time and can do it. There's one for region 2 and 3, which is what we're in. There's also one for region 1. Program them both in your HT. You would hate to know that Chuck got through to an astronaut because they just happened to be on the wrong frequency. So program them both. When you think when ARISS lets you know there might be some time coming, and there they are. Don't write this down. This is all on my website. But there, ITU region 1 they're both 145-800 downlinks, but the uplink is a little different, 145.2 and 144.49. So program both those. Just label one ITU1, ITU2. And if you hear that they might be on simplex, flip back and forth between them, see if they're there. There's the crossband repeater, a strange uplink, 145.99. That is correct. That's not a typo, with a 67.0 tone. And the downlink, they're transmitting on 437-800, but you're going to acquire it slightly above. And that's just a good exercise just to go out and listen to see how dramatic that Doppler shift is. Because when it breaks the horizon, you put it on 810, it's going to be great. And it's going to start fading away fairly quickly. And you flip it to 805 and it's booming in there again. That'll let you know. These steps, 0.005 steps, are available on most radios. If yours, just check your step setting and put it down to 1 or put it down to 5. And that really is, I think, all I have. Chuck, what do you got?
Well, first of all, on behalf of the club, thank you for presenting very informational. You definitely don't make the presentation boring, so we do appreciate that. And because we're the kind of club that likes to have a little fun. Ham radio clubs are, some are technical, some are social. We try to do a little bit of both. Quick story: a couple of years ago, AF0W Brian and myself decided we were going to go get sunburned for the afternoon. Somebody just said very interesting and great sense of humor. We decided to go get burnt in this afternoon. Took my tape measure Yagi out, my Arrow Yagi, a couple HTs, and we tried to do satellites and put a little presentation together for the club ourselves. A great learning experience. One, don't forget sunscreen in the middle of the summer in a parking lot. 2, we didn't make any contacts, but we did attract a little bit of a crowd because not only did we had all the computer stuff, so we had everything as far as which satellites were coming over. We picked up weather satellites so people could hear what those sound like as well, the NOAA satellites, SO50, the ISS. So, we got a little variety of everything. So it's really cool. And I myself personally am being more involved with satellites as well because I find it very interesting. I haven't made a contact yet by any means. Somebody did have a great question of, do you have a website for grid squares? Where do you find the grid square? If
you go to my website, work-sat.com, and go to the Shack AIDS page, there's 2 of them there. One, you just put in a physical. That's how I found your grid squares. Just put in the physical address, no zip code, just 123 West Main Street, Longmont, Colorado. Hit return, and it pops up maps and grid squares for you, all the way down to the 6-character grid square. Also on that page is the Icom color. I think it's 8.5 by 14, maybe a little larger, PDF of the North America grid square map that you can print out for yourself. But the Shack AIDS page has some cool stuff on it. Also has some docs, some interesting documents to almost all PDF. Great question. And your smartphone, we'll give it to you too. There's free grid square locators on your smartphone. Just go to the App Store and check for grid square locator.
Got another question that popped up too. Okay. How popular are the linear satellites? Are they or the FM satellites busier? Oh, sorry, Clint.
No, you're fine. You will need definitely 2 radios. Definitely need 2 radios to work the sideband birds. So it's more of an investment in antenna and radios. If you go to my website, there's a site with some really marvelous sideband references for you for getting started in the sideband birds. Most of them point to either AMSAT or AMSAT-UK for getting into sideband birds. So a lot of friends are using FT817s or FT817s or 818s, piggybacked one on top of the other. But because of the wide band, you need definitely 2 radios. There's not one radio that does it efficiently for you. I don't know if did that answer his question or not.
I might have, hopefully, Brian. If not, Brian will get back to us. There was a comment earlier this evening. I don't know if you knew that Al Lowe, N0IMW, started Aero Antenna in South Loveland before moving up to Cheyenne. Me and a couple of club members a couple of years ago drove up to Cheyenne to see they even moved to another place now, a little bit smaller facility, but we went up there to see their whole production facility, and it was wonderful. It was good to see something like that.
And Tim's keeping up the tradition. They each have been very supportive. If I'm going to a show, I can get a prize from them. They've very, very supportive. They're good people. How's Al doing? Is he doing all right health-wise?
I have not heard, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Somebody around here might have.
Al is
Tim
a
is take-
silent key at this point, and his wife.
Al Lowe passed away.
Yes, 4 or 5 years ago now.
Okay. Okay. Tim has acquired the company about a decade ago and has been supportive. Al was a marvelous person and started making those things in his garage.
Yeah.
A story which are we being recorded? Are we being recorded?
Yeah, we can always take it out if you'd
Okay.
ask. Nicely we can.
No, that's right. That's right. Al, you get to know Al and everything's fine. But when someone would hit him up with, "Hey, we're having a convention. Send me some free product," he would say, "Why should I send it to you for free when I sell every single one that I make?" But again, you get to know him, and then I had no problems with the Palm Springs Club or Pacificon or here in the Southwest California Southwest Division here in California. They've always been supportive. Bob Heil has been very supportive. Let's see. Oh, let me change this here.
Oh yeah, we had him on as a speaker a couple months
Isn't
ago.
he cool?
Isn't he great guy?
Let's see. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Stop sharing. Let's go back to. Let's see some people here. Think. All right.
Now,
all right. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I had another quick question. Since you've been doing this a long time, if somebody wanted to go out and spend the money, would you recommend an elk or an arrow? I have them both, so I was just curious.
Let's start all the way back with that tape measure beam. How much gain is there, pun intended, between the performance of that and a $165 arrow? That's a decision you're going to have to make for yourself. And I'm not going to make that one for you.
No.
Yes, the arrow and the elk are much more elegant. I love the, it feels almost like epoxy finish of the elk elements. Mm-hmm. But by the design, just the inherent design of a log periodic, it has a wider bandwidth than the arrow. The elk doesn't pick up the initial minute of a pass as definitively, that's the wrong word, but as tightly, as definitively as the arrow, only because it's designed that way. It's designed for a wider band. So either is a wonderful, wonderful addition. But if you're just thinking of getting into this and think it might not be your cup of tea, build yourself a little, you can use that tape measure Yagi as a marketing tool, as a direction finder, something in the future. It's like a J-pole, like a roll-up J-pole. Each of us should have a roll-up J-pole. Each of us should have a little mag mount to take with us to a hotel. Oh, I freaked out the help by hanging mag mount upside down from the curtain rod. You know, oh God, that Bradford guy in 232 is talking to Mars. So if you don't think the good thing with the arrow or the elk, they hold their resale value. But yeah, you don't need to spend $160 for an antenna to get into this world of high gain, like that ISS contact, 2 watts, non-full duplex radio, and talking to the commander of the ISS, 450 miles downrange when we started. So yeah, the elk and that's not a scientific answer to elk versus arrow. They're each about the same weight. They're each about 3.6 pounds. Some people say that the arrow doesn't transport as well as the elk. Well, if you just remove the 3 2-meter pairs of elements, it's flat also like an elk. Arrow doesn't publish gain numbers. Well, I don't care. It works. My first arrow, I was working at Ham Radio Outlet, sold it. Guys, I knew it well, and I sold it to a guy on Friday. And when I was opening up the store Saturday morning, he was there waiting. He wanted a refund. This thing, I am an engineer. This thing cannot possibly work. I want my money back. Well, I thought, well, I kind of wanted to know, did you follow instructions in building it? But the other part of me thought, I can buy this as an open stock item. And I used that non-working antenna for about 10 years before I started replacing some of the elements because they start fading from purple to from deep purple to but so it might not please engineers, but it sure pleases those of us who use it. That's a very long sentence. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I appreciate it. I just thought I'd throw a couple else out there to get people thinking about what they want to do in the hobby. A couple more questions popped up on chat. Well, one was more of a comment, but one was the question is, where do you go to find information on that 10-part project for the radio upgrades on ISS? Not seeing anything obvious on the ARISS website.
Please scroll down on that front page or then maybe in the menu above the top, it might have news, or it's there. Search for the word interoperability, no hyphens. There should be something December of last year when we got the Kenwood up there. So there should be articles there, but it's definitely on the ariss.org site. You can also search on the ARRL site in their news articles for ARISS. It'll be there also. That's I'm going to add that to my ISS page. That's because you're right. It's been more than a year where we heard about 10 parts to this. So that's great. It'll be up at worksat.com in a couple days. Thank you.
Glad to hear. And then had a comment of long love QRP, quiet, reasonable price.
It was choppy. Please repeat the
Oh, sorry.
question.
No, it was just a comment. Somebody said long love QRP, quiet, reasonable price.
Yeah. That's a statement. It's not a question, correct?
Yeah. Statement.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Good. Yes.
Because that's pretty much what that's all is QRP. So.
Is Kat still here?
Kat is still here.
Yes, I am.
Was it what you expected, Kat, or was it just too weird?
It was great. Exactly what we were hoping for.
Do you have a background in public relations and marketing?
No, I used to be a technical writer.
Okay, but you bring things down though to the general populace. You don't overtalk to us. So that newsletter. Have you ever submitted your newsletter to the ARRL section for newsletter contests?
I didn't know
Somebody
we could.
needs.
No.
Yeah, someone needs to do that. Those are keepers. Those are keepers to the point of printing it out. I've got the program. I think it's called 4Print, where you can print 4 pages on 1 page of paper. But then you need a magnifying glass. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Well,
thank you.
I think Kat added you to our list now, so you'll get it every month.
I got November Splatter. Yep.
So
Splatter. What a great name.
Well,
Sweetheart,
I'll have to try that this weekend because I think there's going to be some meteor showers going on. I read somewhere.
Right now.
So we can try to do some meteor splatter.
Yes,
the
Karen.
Leonids.
Yes, Karen.
Would you tell the nice people where on your website they can find the tiny URL for when the ISS spun around? Because I couldn't find it on your site.
No, I took it out of here tonight. If you want to hear the audio between NASA ground, Russia, and the ISS regarding when that Russian cargo ship started its thrusters, go to tinyurl.com/parking job, PARKING hyphen job. Yeah, tinyurl.com/parking hyphen job. It'll take you to a 15-minute recording, and you will just be proud of your taxpayer dollars. The NASA folks kept so cool and calm. And the first CNN story came out, 90 degrees, no big deal. This thing turned the ISS more than a revolution and a half. And yeah, they might say no one was in any danger, but that is bizarre. And just our relationship with Russia needs to be firmed up.
A couple seconds of artificial gravity, huh?
That, and then the exploding this satellite right in front of its orbit. It's like, oh, come on, that's just not cool. Not cool. That's a technical phrase there for you.
All right. Anybody got any other questions for Clint?
Well, Kat, how did you find me? Or Chuck, how did you find me? I'm a time zone away. How'd you?
I don't know. Somebody recommended you, or I just happened to be looking for people. Because one of the things I did this year with the club is I tried to find presenters who were out of the state because we had to do Zoom anyways. So we had Bob Heil, we've had Ed Fong, we've had some people that you go look at the internet that I call ham radio icons or stars that I tried to get onto this. for
But then
presentation.
you,
So,
but then you contacted me. Okay. All
well,
right.
no, I
You
find you
broke
as a
tradition.
ham radio star. If you have your own website and you've got a specialty, we love it. Because that's one thing I love about the hobby.
I've got Ed's 2 plans, one for the roll-up J-pole and one for the PVC encapsulated one on my site. Not high gain by any means, but every ham needs a J-pole. They're just cool.
Yeah.
They're fun to make.
Oh, we actually, after we did, he has a club special. So we put an order together and we placed an order. I think we ordered something like 30 or 40, almost like an over $1,000 worth of orders. I've got 2 Ed Fongs hanging outside right now that I use to hit our repeaters. And I got a third one I use for when I travel and just go out to parks and things like that, just to try it. So yeah, and we actually have a J-pole in our Go box from Ed Fong as well.
Cool.
So yeah, they're great antennas. But yeah, like I said, I don't remember what it was. Another comment. Thank you so much, Clint. Informative and very funny. But yeah, we appreciate it. I'm always looking for something different. The hobby is so broad now. It's no longer a guy with a brandy and a ham sandwich with a big mic talking to somebody around the world. I mean, there's so much other stuff to it now. And that's how I'm trying to get the younger generation in, like myself. I just turned 50 this year. So I brought the mean of the club down quite a bit. But, I'm trying to get some of the younger generation involved in ham radio. And that's, you mentioned internet, satellites and things like that. And sometimes it still piques their interest. But I do appreciate the presentation. It was actually very informative, very funny, and we appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And think of how this has changed in the last just 10 or 15 years. I've got 3 monitors here. I've got one of those little Pi-Star wireless things that puts out 10 milliwatt. Digital radios, or DMR has been around for a while. It's just, there's so many aspects of this hobby. It's just magnificent. It's a great hobby. It's a great hobby.
Like I tell people, you get out of it what you put into it. And if you want to jump in with both feet, and like me, I kind of did, and I've got HF equipment, multiple UHF, VHF equipment. I'm part of Aries. You can do that. Otherwise, you just get a little HT for $35 with a rubber ducky, or even a little better antenna, and you're on the air as well. So it all depends on what you want to do.
We've been fortunate. I live in the most populous region of the most populous state in the country. We've been fortunate that we have not had a lot of abuse, considering a person can get those $35 radios and wreak havoc with local agencies and things. So it's just been, when I saw about 10 or 12 years ago, the HRO was carrying a sub $100 Chinese import, I thought, oh, did hell freeze over overnight? What's going on? And some are reputable. The PowerWorks is a firm here in Southern California that's run by hams. You're talking to a ham. They carry some Wouxun, WOUXUNs,
Yep.
but that UV90 Plus is a sweet little radio.
I got one. That's great.
Yeah, it's a nice, feels good in the hand, which is very, very subjective, but nice little rig.
Oh, and somebody said they put a joke out there. I don't know if you read the chat. 2 satellites got married. The wedding was okay, but the reception was incredible.
No, I've never heard that before, but it's still funny. That's still funny. Yes, indeed. The reception was, yeah. Okay.
Well, if nobody's got anything else, I know it's only 10 minutes to 8 there, but it's getting close to 9 here. We do appreciate it. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments?
Who's the webmaster?
That nice, unfortunately would be website. Me. Unfortunately, that would be me as well.
Nice, clean experience. I like that. I like that.
Well, again, I just turned 50 this year. I'm in IT, and I basically went to the board and said, okay, our site is looking a little old. We need to upgrade a little bit. I did have some help, granted. I do have people jumping in and helping out now, but for the most part, we migrated most of the stuff, and I kind of built it from a new template up and said, we need something a little bit more splashier. Because you go look at a lot of ham sites, they're like, something out of the 70s and 80s, from Netscape and things like that. And I'm like, no, we need to at least get it in the early 2000s. So
I went to a favorite little charity of mine is a social service agency down in almost to the border, and they're having a fundraiser and on Facebook, and I clicked on the, send them $20 in PayPal. The link didn't work. So I backed out. I went on my computer and logged into the site, on a computer and clicked on the PayPal link and it didn't work. It's like, you cannot make it hard for us to send you money. You cannot make it hard to get information about Longmont, and you've overcome that. But yeah, people who need to check things on every platform, old iOS, old iPhones, to make sure when you hit that donation button for Longmont projects. Are you a 501c3 by any chance?
We are.
Okay. Yeah, you need to make it easy for us to send you money.
Oh, go ahead and hit the PayPal button. I know it works.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll take your 20 bucks.
You hit that one, and you hit the one over on AMSAT, and we'll cancel each other out.
Actually, I was looking at AMSAT. I haven't joined yet. I was looking at the rotator project from the folks in Australia. I think about getting one of those at one point, and I know that they were sold out recently. Like everything, nobody can get parts. For my Aero antenna, I just haven't done it yet. But there's all kinds of cool things out there, and me personally, I happen to like satellites, and one of these days I will make my first contact. One of these days.
Do it. Set your goals for before December 5 to work the ISS crossband repeater.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I got them already programmed.
It'll be off for Christmas to pack it up during Christmas.
Yeah. Well, even if I could do an APRS packet, that'd be great too. I haven't been able to do that either. So.
All right, Longmont. Thank you. How cold is it in Longmont overnight tonight?
I think it'll be in the 20s. Right now it's like 28. Last night I think it was 23.
Did he say 28?
Actually, I just saw 15 for tonight.
15 for tonight. Okay.
Good God, it gets below 60 in California. We start dying.
Well, we had a wildfire that started yesterday too up in the mountains, so we're having all kinds of fun.
And it's still burning.
Yep.
Lightning caused or
no? Wind blew down some power lines and caused the fire.
God. That's they're okay. You heard about California's fires that were all allegedly. Anyway,
we had our big one last year, it was last year up in northern Colorado, the largest in Colorado. So yeah, that tells you it's dry, and we're waiting for the snow to come in because we like that.
It's going to be tough for us to send him any water though now.
Yeah, it's true.
Longmont, thank you very much for the invitation. I knew after looking around the club, I knew this was going to be a great group to work with. Thank you very much for the invitation. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Clint.
Thank you for coming.
Keep up the good work, Kat. 35 pages next month, Kat.
You might see more. Who knows?
Yeah, we've had more on occasion, so.
We have.
Great presentation. I don't know who invited me, but whoever it was, thank you. Was that you, Clint? I don't know, but very nice presentation.
Dave, yes, we've emailed Dave. How the heck is that really is that a photo or is that your room?
No, that's my shack. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
God, all the radiation in there, Dave.
All that CW energy.
Keeps the cats away.
Gosh. Yeah, keeps the cats away. But yeah, were you the one that whoever sent me the email? Thanks a lot. I got home, got off the road and like, oh crap, I've got like 3 minutes. So I bolted out to the shack. It's like 61 degrees in here. And because we've been out of town for days. So I've been freezing my stuff off sitting out here watching your show, but it was really good. I really appreciate it. I learned a ton. You're a great presenter.
And just know everything I said is going to be outdated in a couple of weeks because the ISS won't be in crossband repeater. So go to my site or amsat.org or amsat-UK and keep up to date with things. That's people ask, why don't you do this on YouTube? Just for that reason, because as soon as I put it on YouTube, there'll be a mode change or a satellite go up or a satellite go down. And then I will get calls, well, I can't work AO 9099. You said I could. Well, yeah, but that was dated, a month ago. So anyway, so keep on, 130, you're number one, Longmont, number 136. Hoo-hoo.
I did have one other quick question, really quick, Clint.
Yes.
Did AMSAT ever talk to SpaceX to see about putting a couple of transceivers on their nice little train of satellites that are up there?
You mean with those Starlink things?
Yeah.
I don't think that conversation occurred.
Okay, I was just curious. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. We've heard of people putting, essentially iPhones and little micro. See, can you see this guy over here? This little 4-inch cube. Mm-hmm. Communication satellites can be that small.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember SuitSat about 15 years ago? The Russians needed to get rid of a stored space suit that was on the ISS. They needed more room for stuff. So they put a transceiver in it and pushed it out the door. It was called SuitSat-1. And it, is only going to last a few orbits. It's just dramatic seeing this, just looks like a whole body in there. It was just a spacesuit that had amateur radio in it. So silly things like that occur every once in a while. That has nothing to do with anything, but
that just makes the job harder at Cheyenne Mountain for those guys to track it. That's all.
Did you notice those 2 slides of the 17,000 items that are supposed to be up there, and then the 50,000 that aren't? Everything from a nut, a bolt, a hammer,
golf ball,
an electric drill, anything that can go right through your solar panel on the ISS. So it's much more serious than, it's not just a joke. And then last week, what was the problem last week? Was it was an errant dying satellite that got too close to the ISS. So they had to reposition for that. So two weird, 2 out of the norm things. And then you and I get upset when they don't do 2-meter simplex for us on the weekend. Well, they're avoiding Chinese crap, and they're avoiding Russian crap, and they're avoiding junk in the
Every
sky.
other country that's starting to send stuff, even South Africa, I think, has a satellite now. So
yeah. 67 had a camera on it. I had a picture of Namibia. That country. Yeah. Yes. Anyway. All right. Need anything, let me know. You've got my phone numbers on my site, my emails on my site. If you use AMSAT's data, back out for Greenwich Mean Time, and just enjoy.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Great presentation.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Really good presentation.
All right. What a great.
Didn't mean to make you choke.
Oh, that hurts that hurts the incision. Oh man. Cat, here, I want you to see. It really is pasted to my body.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
I've
get
got
old,
one of
folks.
those
Don't
coming
get
up.
old.
I've got one of those coming up when I get brave enough to do it.
Rotator cuff?
Yep, I got a big hole in
Okay.
it. In my rotator.
Okay. Are you pleased with your surgeon? Are you going to shop around? Not
Yeah.
shop around, but get a second opinion? Okay.
Well, he's done a foot surgery for me and 2 knees for my husband, who is Brian over here. And
Wow.
so
My
we
surgeon
like
doesn't do feet. I asked him about this little thing on my foot. He goes, I don't do feet. What do you don't do feet? There are bones in my feet. You're an orthopedic surgeon. I don't do feet. All right, cool too. All right, that's it.
California.
Longmont, thank you. Yeah, California specialists, bills, medical bills. Let's not go there. Let's go get dinner. Longmont, thank you very much for the invite. I'll see you next year.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Claire. Appreciate it.
We know this meeting is being recorded.
Oh, this meeting is being recorded.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
Nobody's saying, Steve, no, don't say anything.
Did you hear that announcement? This meeting is being recorded. I've got the Zoom text, which reads stuff that pops up like that for me since I can't see it.
Yeah, it did.
So the audio did come through, did it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we can't be recorded. That would be a violation of our rights or something. I don't know.
Civil.
Whatever.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you made it to the net that day and come back anytime, Pat. I'd like to have visitors.
Well, I'm going to. I'm working on it.
We lost one of our, in fact, we lost the what we call the commander of the Air Force's group here a week ago. He's a silent key now.
Oh.
So we're in the process of selecting a new person.
Send that off to Jerry. He does the silent key stuff. Don.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's I found that out when I got a email from somebody and I go, oh shoot, what do I do? So yeah, Jerry's doing silent key.
Okay.
Well, I have a silent key cyclist this week that I was very close to. So it's it's one of those things. So the answer is live every day, do the best you can, and have fun.
That's right. You're only going to be given so many days, so use them all to the best you can.
Use them all. That's right. Hey, Mark. Hello, Mark.
Yes, do you hear me?
I do. Say, that antenna you put me onto,
Uh-huh.
I've had a couple of engineering problems.
Yeah, what was your engineering problems?
It's called the Wyoming wind.
Oh, the chain that's horizontal?
Yeah. The horizontal chain, you got it. So I put the antenna up just with the antenna wire promptly separated. Then I put it up with a little cord. Next day it separated. Yesterday I put a rope out and taped the antenna to the rope. It's working.
Okay.
We had some 60-mile-an-hour gusts today, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
I'll let you know. It's not, if you decide to get one, it's not very structurally sound.
How's
Okay,
your
I'll
gas
keep that
prices
in
up
mind.
there?
Anyway, but the antenna works good.
How's your gas prices up there, Pat?
Oh, about say, I don't know, let's see, about 330 for regular.
Okay.
Yeah,
About
we had
350.
We're down
yeah,
to
we had
290.
Yeah, 290, 292 that within the last week. I usually figure it's before Thanksgiving, they lower the prices like 10 cents, and then after Thanksgiving, they can raise it 20 and they can feel good about it.
Yeah, it doesn't. You know,
Happy
we got a
holidays.
small market up here, so. Even though we got 2 refineries in Cheyenne, you'd think that'd be enough, huh?
Hey, Pat, put in a request. See if you can get George or one of the technical guys set up Link.
You know, George wasn't at our meeting on Tuesday, so I couldn't ask him. I'll send him an email and say, hey, George, how about Echolink?
Yeah, they can get extra memberships in from across the border.
Well, I'll tell him that. Hey, we got some Colorado memberships coming if you put in Echolink. How's that?
Yeah, cool.
I'll do it. Why not?
I don't know
We're
what the
gonna be-
cost is. I don't know what the cost is.
I don't.
They probably already have the infrastructure, just not turned on.
Oh, you do up here?
You might.
Oh, I don't know. You know, actually, Shyway is not short of money.
Well, since Pat joined, bogey went up.
We got 72 members now. When I
Wow.
joined, it was 55, so that's
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
What are you doing to recruit? Anything, or are they just showing up because they're new hams?
They sent out some letters to all the local hams. Not much response. We have a VE session on Saturday, in which I'm one of them. So maybe we'll get some.
Yeah, we got a VE session on Sunday. But it appears we only have 7 people so far. So
I'll tell you what, Chuck, you've done a really good job at making it comfortable for new members.
well, thank you.
You could come up here and teach our group a thing or two.
Hey, let me know. Send me an invite. I'll come up.
That'd be great. It's actually a very good group of people. But you know, there are some longtime hams that you get it.
You saying they're stuck in their ways?
Yeah, you know, they're very technical. How's that?
Yeah. Well, we've had that in our past, and you know, and everybody we've had in the past that were stuck in their ways, they're either still with us and pulled out of certain roles, or they've moved. So we've been kind of fortunate.
No, you've done it. The club is LARC has really done a good job. It's true. They're recruiting people and
Yep.
keeping people and doing good things.
Well, I'm trying to keep it interesting, you know. I'm also working on trying to get, you know, some less experienced hams to jump in, and you know, and one of the things I think I've done that I really feel good about is we've got this nice relationship with not only RM but with Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club, things like that. So we're building some relationships. I need to start working with bee cares and bark a little bit more, things like that. So, good evening, Clint. Welcome.
Good evening.
Clint's our presenter this evening. So this is our rag chew half-hour session prior to the event. So
What time do you want me back? I need to take a. I just finished with Southwest Florida.
okay,
got in before the storm hit.
About well, we've got business at 7 for the club. Usually only lasts 5-10 minutes at the most. There's not a whole lot going on right now. We've got our elections out of the way, so I'd say no later than 7:10. You should be good.
Well, I like the plain background, and I really enjoy that.
The plain background for
your background.
Oh, that's actually my ham shack.
Yeah. I thought my background was busy. Okay. All right.
And that's not even my radios. That's all my computer stuff and storage. The radios are in front of me. So.
Okay. I apologize for butting in. I will mute myself and come back.
No, you're good. Minutes. Anytime. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you. So, but thank you for saying that, Pat. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the board backing me on a lot of the stuff that we're doing as well. So I think, that's, we're going to have our disagreements on occasions. That's a given. But I think overall, I think we've compromised fairly well to make sure that the club can grow.
So when did we last have a disagreement? When was that, Mark? Do you remember that?
I don't think we've ever really had a disagreement. We've had some observations, and we made some changes to correct those observations. I guess would be the best way to put it.
We've had some discussion, but
yeah. So I correct myself. We never really had any arguments. It's more of we've had some, I guess, different ways of how things should be done. But I think now, we found a compromise and seems to be working. So, which, by the way, how do you like the new website?
Cool.
That's great. Yeah.
It's easy to find things now.
Well, that was the goal. Was definitely trying to make it easier to find things. It still needs its tweaks. It still has its issues, but we're getting there.
Maybe Kat can put a poll up.
Hey, we've got that built right in, so she doesn't even have to go anywhere to do it. It's right there.
Okay.
So I have to put up a section. I can find my wine. How's that?
There you go. Hey, that's a poll. What wine do you like to have when you're on the ham radio? Myself, I'm a screwdriver drinker, or Southern Comfort. So, but tonight it's tea.
Southern Comfort. Oh well, red wine is good for me. And at my advanced age, it actually doesn't make a damn bit of difference.
Whether it's good or bad for you, right?
It doesn't make any difference.
Do you do a dry or you do a sweet red?
Oh no, Cabernet.
Cabernet. Yeah.
Well,
see, I don't.
I got a question for the group here. Has anyone ever used a step air antenna?
Set air. Nope.
I don't think I have.
You have?
No. It's called set air?
Step. STEPPIAR, I think it is. Stepier or something like that.
No, I've never even heard of it.
No, I haven't.
Are you talking about a step IR?
It's a fiberglass tubing big enough to handle kind of a brass, stiff brass, uncoilable wire that gets uncoiled, and as it gets uncoiled, it's checking VSWR, and when it gets to the right length, it quits stepping, and it tunes itself mechanically.
Yeah, that's a step IR. They also make a beam that's you can do the same thing with.
Exactly. Yeah, they make the beam and the vertical both. No one on air tonight has used it. Is that right?
I haven't used the vertical. I know Doug K2AD's got one. He hasn't put up the beam. The tech chair for Northern Colorado has he just rebuilt the beam for it and really likes it.
Well, we've got a friend here in the neighborhood where I live. Pat, you may know him, Larry Murphy.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, he was in the antenna design group at Ball. And he's got some physical problems like I do. So he wanted something that was fairly simple and not too complicated. So he bought one. He hasn't got it up yet, but I'm curious to see how it's gonna perform for him.
Looks like somebody sent a link or something on a chat.
Yeah, Ted did the link to Step IR.
There are lots of antennas.
Yeah, it's almost like the Atlas for Yaesu, where basically, goes up and down, tunes itself.
Yeah, I think they say it'll tune within like, I don't remember what it was, an inch or so of the proper length for the frequency you're using.
Oh.
Well,
But
Mark,
it
I have to,
does it by a self-measurement process.
Mark, I have to tune my chameleon now because it's a foot shorter. The last wind took out a foot of it.
Get your
We have to-
soldering iron out there, Pat.
No, I don't think it's a Kevlar core coated with copper. I don't think that's going to work, actually.
No.
The antenna works just fine. As long as the wind doesn't take it out. So.
Well, how high is your vertical, Pat?
Well, my vertical is what, 22 feet?
22 feet.
But
Okay.
that's over at the shop. See,
Right.
my whole deal is as Mark knows, my antenna and my ham shack is out of my shop.
Right.
Which when there's 2 feet of snow, it's kind of hard traveling out there. So I've created another ham shack in my office here. And the easiest antenna was the one that Mark suggested, this sloping end fed.
Okay.
Tuned. Oops. Somebody's calling. Anyway, it works good.
Cool. Well, because of my limitations with an HOA, I tinker. So I've got just a couple of dipole ham sticks up, and I'm getting ready to put them on a rotator just to play with that to see how that changes things at about 20, probably going to go 24 feet, right? So it'll be right at the edge of my roof so people can't see it from the front. So.
Well, I don't have a problem with antenna configuration out here.
Yeah, well, you got the property and the people don't care.
I've got a 43-foot non-resonant vertical with a remote auto tuner at the base, and I'm really pleased with it. It works very nice.
Nice.
Well, I could do that here, but it still has to withstand this 70, 80 mile an hour wind up here,
True.
Well, it's not exactly calm here all the time either, Pat.
No, it isn't, but the wind is more here. It's something, so here's the deal with Cheyenne. You either learn to tolerate the wind, or you leave. It's binary.
Well,
So I think
DX Engineering claims this vertical will withstand 90 mile an hour winds. It'll just lay over and kind of align itself with the wind. I don't trust it, so I put guys on it.
Yeah, 90 might work. I don't know. I think the record out at Warren is 112 or something.
Wow.
Wind gust.
You got nothing to block it. That's part of the problem too.
Yeah, we have a fence that goes all the way to Nevada. That's the problem.
If I was up there, I'd just move out to the shop.
You would just move out there?
I'd just move out there and
So
that way,
where-
you know.
So the problem is there's no water out there and no sewer.
Well,
We'll run you some
that's your
lines.
project. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a project, right?
Yeah, you better hurry up before the ground freezes. Let's go.
Another septic tank and more water and. Yeah, this is gonna work fine, actually. I'm already thinking about more antennas. I may have to put up another vertical like Dawn has. 43 feet, huh? Maybe that would
Yeah,
work just fine.
43 foot. I put in a radial ground plane system 20 radials, that each one 42 feet long.
Well, that's no problem here. I can make them 142 feet if I wanted to. Probably not necessary.
I'd
keep
put
the
it right
squirrels
out
and
there
chipmunks.
between the, I'd put it out between the two driveways, you know, where you can nice and symmetric.
Yeah, but then I gotta run the coax somewhere.
The only thing I did that was not recommended, but it doesn't seem to have hurt it any. They said, ideally, lay the radials above the surface. Well, now that's not going to work for mowing and deer walking through the yard and animals and stuff. So I buried them about 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and it seems to work fine.
Well, as Mark knows, I got plenty of room for radios up here.
As long as no one jumps out in a hockey mask, I'll be fine.
Speaking of radios and antennas, Ramon, do you have radios with your flagpole antenna?
I don't have a flagpole antenna.
I thought you had a flagpole antenna.
No, I've got a 9-to-1 in the attic. I've got a 2-meter 144 in the attic.
Okay.
I've got an half wave in the front and in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody in the club's got a flagpole antenna they put up within the last 3 or 4 months, I think. And Dick, KF0 VET, is putting up FABT, I think his call sign, is putting up a flagpole antenna at his house, and he's got everything pretty much all set. I think he's getting ready. He's just got to drill some holes, and he'll have a flagpole antenna in his at his house in HOA. So I'm going to go help him with it over at Thanksgiving. That Saturday after Thanksgiving, I'm going to go over there and help him with his antennas. So
Yeah, if I had a giant tree in my front yard, I probably would have a flagpole just to try it, see how it works.
Hey, let me know, Chuck, if you want some help with that. I'm thinking about doing something like that as well. So
well, he's your neighbor. He's down the street from you.
I know. So just let me know if we want to go over, and I'll come give a hand. I took some extra time off during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm actually on call on Friday, but I've got the weekend off, and my wife's out of town, so I'm playing Bachelor. I'm going to go out and do ham radio stuff. So I'll actually be at breakfast that Saturday. So
nice. Is that the 27th?
Correct.
Hey, Mark, with your extra time, we should put up a 60-foot tower up here. You want to help?
Sure. I just took one down. We'll put it this way. We had to take a tower down. It was so bad we wouldn't climb it. We had to get a bucket lift, and we pretty much cut it. We pretty much cut it in sections and lowered it down.
Yeah,
that's right.
May I ask Ramon? Is it Ramon, or how do you pronounce your name, sir?
Ramon. Yeah.
Ramon. Are those your babies in the background?
No, on either Dillon Road or Arapahoe, there's a park, and then right just adjacent to the park, there's a couple of donkeys that.
Oh, okay. Because my wife and I had one for about 20 years. You
Oh,
should
really?
ask me.
No,
You should ask me what his name was. You should ask me what his name was.
What was his name?
Oh, you asked me what his name was? Edward R. Burrow. When I tell that to audiences, they're either thinking I'm saying Edward, comma, our Burrow, but you folks know I'm talking about Edward R. Murrow. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, Clint. Hey, we love comedy, man.
Yeah.
We like to have fun. That's what this is all about. This half hour prior is just shooting stuff and rag chewing.
Is Kathleen going to be with us this evening?
Kat's already on.
Oh, cool.
I'm here.
There she is.
Oh, your club is so fortunate to have this mind. Do you not know you're in the middle of a pandemic and she's putting out 34-page newsletters?
Oh, she's been doing that for years.
Oh, yeah.
We love her.
Good. Yeah, it's phenomenal work. You're marketing yourselves phenomenally well, and her name's on a bunch of stuff. You're fortunate to have her.
We're trying.
Double her salary.
I'm trying to get the club to do that. So.
Hi, Kat.
Hi.
Hey, I'm sorry. The other day when I called and you answered, I did not recognize your voice. I couldn't tell who was there. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Not a problem.
Anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kat, tell me your call sign again. W0UM, is that right?
Yeah, let me fix it.
Okay, I got it. You know, I'm old,
Well,
I have to
I
remember
want
things.
I want the people in here to know really quick. I was on Sunday night, and I don't. It probably was propagation. Might have get lucky, not sure. But we actually had a newer ham, only about 2 months old, from Eaton, Colorado, that hit our repeaters with a J-pole antenna and an HT. I was floored. Very little static, very readable, and it was just great. So hopefully he might join us as well. But just to get somebody from that far away to hit our repeaters, I was really impressed. So
Where's
market Eaton's north of Greeley.
Okay.
Off of 85 as you head towards Cheyenne.
Yeah, well,
Northern.
it doesn't surprise me that he could hit it, but hearing it that was a feat.
Yeah, he heard us too. We had probably a good 15-minute rag chew. I was telling him about the club and telling him how he could get on and join the nets, things like that. And then W0KKI Mike got on as well. He was testing a new antenna, so that's the only reason I was on the air at the time. So Mark and Brian, good job keeping the repeaters up and going. And then David out in Loveland can hit the repeaters pretty good too.
Is the NCARC thing going on this weekend? The show and tell?
Yeah, that's Saturday. They got their board meeting. So Joe, who's on is KD0TYU is on, so he's the president up there.
Hey, Joe.
And a paying board and a paying club member, so we appreciate that. And if you don't have your call sign next to your name, if you do that, we would appreciate it. Makes Pat's job a lot easier.
Yeah, it helps. Hey, Joe.
Yes, Pat.
Yeah, you said you'd maybe help out with our the Wyoming Division MCon next year.
He put himself back on mute. He doesn't remember that.
You got to take off mute.
I said for $1,000 an hour, sure, you bet.
You got it, no sweat.
Yeah, I can help you.
I'll let you know what's going on.
Okay, I've run a few, not very well, I have to admit, but I've run a few.
Well, we got the planning's well underway, so I think we're doing okay.
When are you going to do that?
It's October 8th.
Oh,
actually 7th, 8th, and 9th of next year.
Oh, good.
Right, Friday night we've got a gathering. Saturday we've got a all-day HamCon and a dinner, and then Sunday morning a breakfast.
Wow.
Well, it's supposed to be a Rocky Mountain Division HamCon. That's 4 states: Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico.
Oh yeah, I did read about that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're it, and we're taking it on. How about that?
Oh yeah, I'd love to be part of that. You bet.
Okay.
You want us to help too, Pat? I mean, LARC will help too. We'll,
Well, we're gonna need a lot of help from Colorado because we want lots of attendance. Our goal is 500. How's that?
That works. That should be doable.
Yeah.
I think it's more like 1,000.
Well,
it's more like 1,000.
Fine. We're gonna have it out at the Laramie County Event Center in Arthur, and it's a big facility.
Cool.
Is that in Cheyenne or Laramie?
It's in Cheyenne.
Oh, good. A little closer.
Yeah, Cheyenne's better than Laramie anytime. But I'm not speaking to Laramie Heights either. So.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. That's my hometown.
I know.
Darling.
It's just colder and more awful. That's all.
Yeah.